I think it is time for NXT to take over.
Suplex City, bitch.
What's your favorite match?
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
Who?
I told my father I'm gonna set up my own lucha league in America, and I'm gonna make it the best league in the world.
I'm gonna leave him in a pile of blood and urine and vomit.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast review every segment of Raw. Do we? Maybe? Yes, we do. Yeah, that's right. I'll give you the wrestling news of the week as per usual. My name is Turbo Tony. I am the host of this grand show that will almost certainly break 300 subscribers within this week. And it will be a fantastic day when it does. I will sing from the rooftops, I shall. And I will sing just 300. And people will wonder, why the fuck is that guy screaming 300 on this? Maybe I like the movie.
What is your profession?
Yeah, exactly. You know, along those lines. I don't do this show alone, though. And it would be reminiscent of myself not to explain to our fans who is my partner in crime. He is the man most inspired by Shia LaBeouf, Matt Marsander. Just do it, Matt! Just do it!
Do it! Just take it!
Do it! Yeah? Were you inspired?
No, maybe not so much. Maybe I'll be a believer before I accept Shia LaBeouf as my motivational speaker.
Yeah, it's quite funny that literally this entire thing, like even WWE got the bandwagon of taking the piss out of it.
Everyone's taking the piss out of it.
Yeah. So it would be, come on, we have to do it as well. It's almost like, mandatory now that we have to do, this sort of thing. So I brought it up there. How are you doing this week, Matt, anyway?
Yeah, not too bad. This is sort of like, I kind of found it really tough this week to sort of catch up. Like, I literally watched all of Raw today whilst at work, which was kind of difficult.
Cramming in those hours of...
it's like lunch break Raw.
I was a little bit like myself, even though I kind of kept on top of things. But, considering it was, Raw, the Austin podcast, NXT, Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
It's been a big week.
I mean, I haven't finished watching the Austin podcast, but I look forward to the last 20 minutes.
It is a good last
20 minutes. As much as I've looked forward to the whole thing.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, so it will be a bit of a spoiler, Matt. I do apologise, but we will talk about a certain part that happened at the end of that podcast, which a lot of people have been talking about. If anyone wanted to tweet us on this show, Matt, what is the Twitter handle that they would be able to tweet us at?
I think you refer to the @TalkWrestlePod handle?
I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've never plugged that in my life, just so
No.
people know that, of course. @TalkWrestlePod. That's the way it is. Still, even with our shameless plugs, we still can't get as bad as Michael Cole was during that period when they were trying to get the app over and all that.
Yeah.
So, anything wrong?
I was going to say, if you don't know how to get Twitter, wait, and I'll put up an extra video how to install Twitter.
It'll be a very lengthy video talking step by step where you need to put your fingers on your phone in order to, that sort of thing. No, we're it's not time for another April Fool's. Although that's a good idea for April Fool's, I think. So we might have to put that one in the bank. And
save that one, yeah.
That's money in the bank. How about that, man?
Whoa.
All right then, guys. What do we have on the show this week? Things have changed up a little bit, as you had noticed. We didn't do a extra episode throughout the week to do the review of Elimination Chamber, the pay-per-view. So it happens on this show. But that will take place over the NXT report card, which takes a seat back this week. So just going down what we have for this week, we've got the news segment, some juicy bits of news, the fan feedback, questions from you guys, which we do love answering each and every week, the Elimination Chamber review, which has a few interesting talking points, and Raw, which will contain a rant this week. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It will be.
I haven't had one of them in a while. Well, there's one coming. And Matt didn't even, when I was talking about this, I was like, I can tell you, when you finish Raw, you're going to feel exactly the same as me. Matt didn't really know what I was talking about, so it'll be interesting for Matt's views once I've enlightened everyone as to what enraged me this week.
Yeah.
And I imagine a few people might already have done it. If you do, put that shit in the comments, and then, just be honest, and say, I called it and all this, see what's going on from there. So, before we start off the show, last night, Matt, I went to see San Andreas.
I heard.
And? Well, I thought it was applicable to bring up the movie, considering, The Rock's in it, and he happens to be,
that's
quite
a good enough reason.
Yeah, a good enough reason to tie into the show. And, it's the big movie on at the moment. I wanted to give my thoughts on whether I should recommend anyone going to see it. And the only way that I can recommend anyone go see San Andreas is if you like jerking off to buildings exploding. If you do, fuck me, this is like the biggest movie of your life. But if you don't, then it's probably not for everyone else. It's a dumb movie from start to finish, and there's parts where Matt, I know if you watch it, because you're just as bad as me. I know when you watch movies and you see something, it's like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. You're like enraged, and you just instantly just don't like the movie. This movie would annoy the fuck out of you big time. So
okay, I eagerly await it.
Yeah, you with bated breath, waiting to eat up all the mistakes in this, including, and I'm going to talk about this, right, just because I just want to put it into perspective. I know we got way off on a tangent, but fuck it, still. There's a part at the start of the movie, right, and like I said, this isn't too much of a spoiler because I won't reveal what happens, and it's right at the start of the movie, literally the first thing that happens in the movie. This woman careens off of this cliff, and she's like, her car is like cascading down like a mountainside, right? And then it's like hooked up onto the end, and it's like about to fall off, but she's kind of hanging on for dear life, right? So it's like, the car is gradually kind of falling, and it's like, oh, okay, if it falls any further, she'll die. That's the big drama of it. Sort of.
Oh no!
And then The Rock comes in and and saves her. Now, first of all, the first thing I thought of this in this movie, what I thought was pretty dumb, was helicopters, right? Matt, I don't know if you stood underneath a helicopter. Have you? Yes. What's the first thing that you know, standing underneath the helicopter? There's a lot of fucking downward force.
Yeah, what's this air that's pounding in... Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost hard to stand straight. It's pretty extreme, right?
Yeah.
So you think the last thing that this helicopter would want to do was to spend an elongated amount of time hovering over the car that's teetering over the edge of this mountain, which is exactly...
Seems to be struggling to stay in what... Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but they do that. And, they get saved and everything like this. And maybe it's something that happens, but to me, that just seems fucking stupid. Like, why wouldn't you park, winch it, and it's just, you'll go out of your mind in the start of this movie, because you're just like, obviously that helicopter is not helping, to the situation. And there's a bit where he, like, tips the hat, and he goes under this crevice, and it's like, oh, God, like, to me, it's just really stupid. It's a dumb movie, to be honest, but what would you expect? The only part of the movie that's kind of special, like I said, is just building destruction on a mass scale. So, do I recommend you go see San Andreas? No, but that's just my opinion.
So I might see it. I just probably won't pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. You'll probably just wait until it's sort of out or anything along those lines, and just kind of annoy yourself, Matt. It'll drive you a little bit mad. So, and when you do watch it, you'll have to come on the show and we can talk about it in great detail.
Okay, I feel like I'm now pressured into watching it.
Maybe a little bit, and then we can rip it apart together piece by piece, because it is a dumb movie. So anyway, from that wild tangent, let's actually get into the actual podcast, will we? Along those lines. Some news for you people. Now, with the news of ROH, Ring of Honor, signing for Destination America, and TNA fans, you can breathe easy this week. We're not speaking about TNA this week, so you can, I can imagine, weights off their shoulders a little bit. Even though the bad news is still there, we're just not talking about it. That's the way it is. But it seems like a cascade effect from that particular thing is that Samoa Joe, if you remember, things have got awkward at that point because he was booked to appear on Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And obviously when this TV deal came around, that WWE probably wouldn't have, it didn't sit well with them. So one of the things that they did to counteract that is sign Samoa Joe to a full-time, exclusive WWE contract. He's been signed up.
That's it. Well, I completely understand it, though. It's just sort of like, well, we can't have him on TV. Like it's not a problem if he's going around and just doing like standard events, but it's like, nope, it's going on TV now.
Yeah. Like then ROH now. I mean, a lot of people may have been saying that that Ring of Honor is now the de facto closest thing to WWE because with TNA's problems, and there is an argument to be made there. I'm just not ready for that argument myself because I don't know enough about Ring of Honor. Yeah. But yeah, because of that, WWE do not want this person appearing on a rival show. And that's what Ring of Honor is, a rival show. As little competition it really is in the large scale of things, but that's still the point.
Yeah,
so,
it's not run by Vince, it's a rival show.
Yeah. Now, I know that, maybe things will change now with Ring of Honor getting a TV deal, but WWE haven't been exactly afraid to even mention ROH, even to use Ring of Honor footage in some of their DVDs. Like the CM Punk stuff, had some footage here and there. So
I'm sure we'll see some stuff with Rollins when it comes to his turn for a DVD.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah. Whether or not that will start halting, that may be a point now, maybe. But basically, WWE have basically locked down Samoa Joe. And what this does for himself, the best news for this is obviously Joe himself, because he's signed to a decent deal that now requires him to work exclusive for WWE. And what this does is that it makes him a lot more... It removes a lot of the roadblocks that you would think that would stop a Samoa Joe from working the main roster, let's say.
Yeah.
And not just... I do firmly believe he's going to stay in NXT, at least for a while, but now he's signed to a
I don't think so, considering he's having Raw Dark matches.
Yeah, he had a dark match with Tyson Kidd, and unfortunately Tyson Kidd got injured, but I don't think that was any fault of Joe's. That hasn't come out.
I think they're writing it off as a one-off.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, doesn't it, really? And Joe is a safe worker. I haven't heard any stories of him being anything but that. He's got a reputation of being...
Like, as much as sort of I take a look at his Muscle Buster, I'm like, oh!
But the amount of people have taken that and they've been completely fine.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Not, like, that it looks dirtier than the Stars Clash, but the Stars Clash is fucking paralysed people. Like I said, everyone knows my thoughts on it. I think the move should be stopped for the betterment of other people's health, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, this means that, like I said, it opens up the door that Joe could start being used way more prevalently, and that's obviously good news for him.
Yeah.
Good news for WWE, because Joe is a guy that I would want on my roster because of he is a professional. He's good at his trade. I think he's much better on the mic than maybe other people give him credit for, and he can pass on a lot of knowledge, to a lot of people there. So.
He was the sort of he hasn't been in WWE before, but he's still a veteran.
Yep. Yeah, and people know him, know his name and know what he's capable of. Yeah, I think it's good stuff. And like I said, I'm sure that WWE didn't feel too hard done by being forced, having their hand forced to sign up Joe, because it's not as like, we have to sign him up.
You mean we have to have him as a permanent guy?
Oh. Yeah, no. Trust me, no executives were worried about signing this guy onto a contract. To me, he's a sure deal, As much as his character is this barbaric ass kicker, Joe as a professional is very professional. So yeah, along those lines. Now let's talk about the Austin podcast. I put this in the news because a few things have talked about this. Now, Matt, you've like I said, you caught the start of the podcast.
I probably have about 15 minutes left to watch.
15 minutes. Well, it's the last 5 minutes of the podcast where things take a very interesting turn, and I apologise for spoiling it for you, Matt. Unless you want to put your fingers in your ears and I'll talk about this. So,
that's fine, you can carry on.
Imagine me talking about with you, blah, 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 blah.
It won't work out.
No. So, basically in the last 5 minutes... By the way, the podcast with Heyman is terrific. You should watch it now. It's great. Not just these last 5 minutes, but the entire podcast is... I don't want to dig on Jericho here, but all of Austin's podcasts are must-watch. Jericho's are very missable. I wouldn't really lose much sleep missing Jericho's, And it's two different podcasting styles, but I just find that when Austin's podcasting, there's just a lot more stuff comes out about it. It's much more must-see or must-listen in this context. But at the end of this podcast, Heyman brings up along the lines of, do you ever think maybe you could have a match with Brock Lesnar, maybe next year at WrestleMania in Texas? And Austin says, well, there's only one way that'll happen. That's 3 words, a Texas death match. And as soon as he says that, it's like literally a switch, literally bang. There was no Steve Austin anymore. He was Stone Cold. He was cutting a promo on Lesnar, full Stone Cold promo. It was very aggressive, very passionate, very intense. All the stuff that you would expect. And it seems really like, for instance, he was threatening Heyman. He said, if there was a window here, I'd throw you out of it. That sort of stuff. It was very much like he was Stone Cold again, And a lot of people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves, saying, well, this is obviously, you know, the first precursor to an obvious Brock Lesnar-Austin WrestleMania 32 match.
It's like, whoa, like stepping back a bit.
Yeah, let's not get too ahead of ourselves yet, because a lot of stuff can happen between now and then, and this could have just been entertaining, you know, it could have been pre-planned. The one thing I will say, though, about this is that WWE next year are in that very, very big stadium, right, that can hold 100k plus, 100,000, right? It's going to be the largest attendance at a WrestleMania they've ever had, but it's going to be hard to fill that arena. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? Austin versus Lesnar is a great way to make sure that they fill out that arena.
Oh yeah, I'd watch.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. But you know what I mean? It's a match that is must see, once in a lifetime. You know, because Austin, I think he's only going to do one more match and that's it, tops. Because I think he's got no more inclinations to do so.
Yeah.
So Vince apparently is desperate. He wants to break all the records. He wants to break the records of that arena itself. He wants to, you know, try and break as many records as he can. And having Austin on the show is a great way to do that. But Austin versus Lesnar, now that's a very big match to happen. So if somehow the stars can align and we do get Austin Lesnar, that's just going to play well for Vince, who wants this next WrestleMania to be the biggest one of all time. You know.
Yeah.
Going from there. So here's my question to you, Matt. Do you think Austin will be wrestling Brock Lesnar next year? That's a big question to ask.
Probably not.
You think not? You think it's not going to happen?
I don't know. I mean, we had like, do you remember that promo that I say promo between Punk and Austin?
Yeah, for the video game. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that was really good.
Excellent.
But at any point did I ever think? I think it's probably because at one point I thought, oh, could that actually be a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not going to be a thing, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm such a fool.
I think that there is a good chance Austin will wrestle next year. Whether or not it's against someone like Brock Lesnar, I'm not entirely sure. I do think there is a likeness that Austin will wrestle. It's in Texas, close to his, you know, that's his homeland.
He hasn't exactly got to do the travel.
Yeah. And he's always said that he'll do business if it makes sense and there's a lot of money to be made. Well, Vince, if he wants to pack out that stadium, throw the checkbook at Austin, because he'll fill that stadium, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to pay a top dollar to see Austin return in the first match in over 10 years. You know, that's
true.
14 years.
And the thing is, though, especially nowadays, like, you sort of get it in when he does his like podcast on the network, but it's just like, he's a lot bigger than he used to be.
Yeah, he was tanked. This thing, and obviously it's way too early to be training for a match that way down the line. So that bit of evidence to state that he's getting ready for a match with Lesnar when it's like 8 months away from the next WrestleMania just doesn't make any sense. So he's obviously bulking up for something else, maybe a movie role. But interesting to see people's thoughts on this, and at the very least they succeeded in getting a little bit of buzz. You know, that's all they needed to do, and it wasn't even expected.
Like, are the people talking? Yeah, they're talking.
Yeah, everyone's talking about it. So, and it is an exceptional podcast. People should go out and listen to it right now. If you haven't, do it right now. I know,
Well,
Matt,
to be fair, they're like, everyone should know by now that we're like big advocates for Heyman.
Oh well, we called him the MVP of WrestleMania season, didn't we?
Yeah,
he sold so many tickets for that event; it was stupid. And I have missed him, you know, him and Brock, but still. But can you imagine the promos between Austin and Heyman in proper full mode? Yeah, that could be very.
Don't play with me like that.
I'm tugging at your heartstrings there, aren't I, man?
That's it.
So, yeah. And I'm making a few of our fans drool at the prospect of that match. But the fact is that you know, that's part of the reason why maybe Vince should try and go balls to the wall and try and make this match happen, because it is a match that people want to see. So, moving on to a match that a lot of people want to see, that's not going to take place in America. Isn't this interesting? Finn Balor and Kevin Owens will do battle for the NXT Championship. I believe it's the start of next month. I could be wrong. And it's going to happen in Tokyo, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is weird, isn't it? And if you look at it on the same line, that Brock Lesnar is having his first house show match against Kofi Kingston, of all people, in Japan.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
going
also really good because also isn't Balor meant to be facing Jericho as well?
Yeah, because they're doing a tour.
Yeah.
But obviously the match between Balor and Owens will be televised and put on NXT. I do firmly believe that this is the match where Balor will win. And he'll win the NXT title, and then Owens can wrap his stuff up there and then head on to the main roster full time.
Yeah.
Because you can tell that's where he's bound. But this is cool. This is exactly what the network should be doing. These sort of matches taking place. How many times, Matt, have we labelled WWE as the AWE, the American Wrestling?
Yeah. American Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is basically, that's essentially what it is. They stick too close to home at times, and they only have 2 televised Raws away from the North America.
Yeah, in the UK.
Yeah, which is in the UK, which I think for a world wrestling entertainment isn't exactly that.
Yeah, well, it's the American Wrestling Entertainment show that occasionally does a world tour.
Yeah. But the fact is that, like I said, the network opens a lot of opportunities for them to do stuff like this, and it makes it seem like a much more worldwide conglomerate.
Yeah.
It's a match.
Well, also, because the one thing I quite like is the fact that obviously Balor, or in his time as Prince Devitt, that's where, obviously he travelled the world with it.
He cut his teeth in Japan.
But he cut his teeth in Japan, yeah, exactly.
And you hear on this podcast about him spending time in dojos and stuff like that, which is just very interesting to hear. So yeah, like I said,
you finally listened to it then?
Yes, I did. The
Jericho podcast with him, yeah.
But this is a match that I'm very interested in seeing. I don't know if they're going to do a full NXT show in Japan. That would be cool. But at very least, we're going to see this match, and it should be awesome. It should be great to see it in a different location with different fans in a different land, and arguably in a place that will treat Finn Balor like a returning prince. Pun intended, similarity intended.
Maybe they would refer to him as King Devitt.
Maybe along those lines. But I do, and like I said, it will be a great place for him to win the NXT Championship, which I think he will. So
yeah, agreed.
Looking at it this way, however, Matt, if you look at it this way, it does get a little bit sad. Because while it would be great for Balor, let's look back to the last NXT show and a certain Hideo Itami getting injured. And you and me both said, if he wasn't injured, he was probably winning that match.
Yeah.
Which means, in my opinion, if he wasn't injured, he'd be winning the NXT Championship in Japan.
That's true. I saw a speculation, almost like a wrestling conspiracy theory, sort of what if Balor attacked him?
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
I like that idea.
My interest, you have it.
I do like that idea. I do, and I think Balor is a character that can go between face and heel as much as you like.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. One of the things as well, I think with Balor, arguably, is because one of the lowest points of his overall package is his promos. His promos are pretty awful. Let's just say it. His promos are pretty shit. So what do you do then when someone doesn't do that? Well, you just don't let them speak. You let the mystique get to people. Yeah. And with his old character, I think that fits him perfectly. He very rarely talks or has someone do the talking for him. We're not talking about like a Paul Heyman, but something along those lines. But still, along those lines. Balor versus Owens in Japan. Book it, people. This is a match we want to watch, and we will be reviewing it on the show when it happens because it will be big stuff. Are you ready for this, Matt? This will make you smile. I put in a little bit of news that would make you smile at the end. Are you ready? As if a Balor versus Owens in Japan didn't make you smile before, which I know it did. Heath Slater. Before this week, he had lost 44 consecutive matches this year. 44. And he was winless. Hasn't won a single match. He was 0-44. Well, Matt, do you want to know what? Heath Slater recorded his first victory of the year! He won one! Yeah!
He's got to win!
He got to win! He beat Adam Rose at a live event, which extends his record to 1. He is the 1 in 44.
Yeah.
That's Heath Slater. He has the worst win-loss rating in WWE this year by a clear mile. The only person that's closest to him is Cameron, who has 2 wins this year. But she's had a lot less matches, so even then. And I think the next one, funny enough, is Adam Rose, who I think is he's got 5 victories this year, or something along those lines. So Heath Slater, he's won a match, everyone. And what's the date today? It's the 6th of June.
It definitely sort of just makes you think, it's like, really? Oh dear.
Oh, Heath. Slater's going to slate, shall we say. But he has a win. Who knows? This could be a start of something great. Like another 44 losses, probably, until he gets another win. That's probably how it's going to end. Yeah,
probably.
I thought I'd bring that up for everyone. Everyone, he's got to win, guys. Slater's got to win. He's got to win. He's the little guy, just doing what he can. I hope
soldiering on.
I hope that live event popped like it was fucking, Dean Ambrose winning the title. Just
probably didn't.
No, they probably didn't give a shit. Moving on from that little feel-good piece there. Fan feedback. A few interesting questions this week. Kieran Walsh asks who would benefit the most from winning the Money in the Bank ladder match, the briefcase. Now, I was thinking of this question, and I know, Matt, you've been thinking of it as well. I don't have, because I think that they still are going to add in maybe one other person. They've got 7 in at the moment. They could probably add another person in.
They've got 7 in now?
Yeah, Kane's in it as well now.
Oh, okay. So. Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. However, one thing I will say, and I will give to one thing who I think who would benefit the most that's in there. My initial thought was Dolph Ziggler. And then I was thinking about it. And I was thinking about it some more. And I came to the realization, and I wonder if you do agree with me when I say this, Matt. This is quite an interesting point of view. That now there's only one championship. There isn't the World Heavyweight. There isn't the WWE. It's just the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, as it's been for a while, right? Which means there's only one briefcase, which means there's only one top guy. You know. I think WWE have shown that their decision long ago was that Dolph, in their eyes, ain't a top guy. So if he wins that briefcase, my prediction is if he does win that briefcase, he's joining the very sparse list of guys that failed to cash in successfully. I think he would lose the cash in. So that's the reason why I say no to Dolph Ziggler. I don't think he would benefit from the briefcase. I think it would be a detriment to him. So you got to look then who there could benefit most. You could probably say Roman Reigns could be his way of winning the belt.
Finally,
along those lines. And I did say that he's winning the belt this year. It just depends on how WWE choose to go about it. So you could say Roman Reigns. What I would do is I'd probably give it to someone rising up who could hold that belt for a very long time, prove if he's really worth something, and if he's not, then you can have a match where he loses the briefcase or he fails to cash in later on down the line. But I firmly believe the person who wins it shouldn't cash in until after WrestleMania. After the next WrestleMania. So it should be something that they have going forward, as part of their identity. Which one guy springs to mind, which would be, it would give WWE an actual idea of what to do with him. It would be Neville. I'd give the briefcase to Neville. I think that would be very interesting for him. I don't think WWE have got any plans for the guy, so at least down the line, even if he does lose it, you've got a rivalry somewhat set there. And it makes WWE remember him, because I'm very worried that WWE are, at the moment, going through the motions with Neville, and they don't have a long-term plan of what to do with him down that line. So
yeah, I could kind of agree with you there. It's just sort of like, let's just have him fight Bo.
Yeah, which, come on guys, we all know, it's a placeholder feud, because they've got nothing else.
It's a filler feud, yeah.
What about you, Matt? What do you think benefit most from the briefcase? I think for me it's a toss up between Reigns and Neville. I think Reigns will be a lot more short term though. I think he would cash it in this year.
I can't disagree with that at all. I think Ziggler's now set into that place where he won't be the top guy, because obviously, as you said, there's only one top title now.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, he'll probably be he'll always be an IC champion, who will get called upon as a fan to always go on the face team at Survivor Series sort of thing.
He would like flirt with the top ranks every now and then.
Yeah, he'll sort of like be like second tier, sort of thing.
Yeah. If WWE were gonna really promote and put this guy higher than where he was, and they would have done it 3 years ago. You know.
Yeah.
They waited on him so long. That's the reason why I was very remiss to say Ziggler as my pick. So, yeah, I think a toss-up between Reigns and Neville on all sides. Bobby Brown says, JR's sauce is okay. It tastes like it's been mixed in his hat. Surprisingly, that doesn't make me want to go and buy a bottle. Because considering where his hat has been.
Yeah.
According to Vince McMahon, JR's had his own head up his arse, so who knows where that hat's been? You know, everyone remembers that famous, colonoscopy that he was getting,
Oh, God, yeah.
When he was ripping all this shit out of his arsehole, like a football, and... Yeah. I thought we were going to get through one episode without talking about anuses, but turns out we failed quite early on this one. I still want to try his sauce. I probably will buy one soon. For the 100th episode, I'll tell you what, I will buy one and I'll eat something with his sauce on it for the episode. We should both do that, Matt. Shall we say that? Will we do a handshake now?
Yeah, we'll call it.
It's episode 78 now. We've got 22 left to go. The 100th episode, we'll have something with JR's sauce and we'll review it live on the show from there on out. By the way, guys, if you've got anything interesting that you might want us to do for the 100th episode, we're going to be going all fucking out. So if you want anything for us to do that'll be really out of the norm and really fun, leave a suggestion. Believe me, we're going to be on board because we're doing loads of plans, weeks in advance for the 100th episode because it's such a massive milestone. And just to think, we're going to have a 100th episode, Matt. That's just crazy.
I know, it's getting there.
Don't know how to process that yet, myself. Moving on, Kane St. Dennis takes the award for what I thought was the most interesting question this week. So, okay, very well done. He asks, if WWE shut down right now, what company would we start watching as our primary wrestling show? Now, obviously, this is a what-if question. There's no way WWE are closing down. To be honest, I feel a bit sad having to explain that because there was no reason to. Everyone's intelligent enough to know that.
Yeah.
So you look at the main contenders for our viewing, the privilege of us to view them and review them on this show. Maybe you're probably looking at Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, TNA if they stick around, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
Let's go through them, Matt, and discuss whether or not we would watch them.
Okay.
Let's start with Lucha. Lucha Underground probably would be one of the mainstays of our channel and probably what I'd watch week in, week out.
I'd still watch Lucha.
Yeah. To be honest, if I had more opportunities, and it's kind of hard to get in the UK, even though like you can get it through links on YouTube, they don't try and hide it as well, but if I didn't have 3 hours of Raw to watch, I definitely would watch an hour of Lucha Underground each week. That's just easy to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, we probably would review it. The only thing that kind of keeps it back is that they're doing it in seasons. So I think that they're almost at the end of their season. They're going to be taking a huge break.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go back to season 2. So, which I mean, it would be a very bad podcast if we started reviewing that and literally like for 10 weeks they're off the air.
It's done now. Oh.
Suddenly we're just like going out seeking indie shows and reviewing them.
See you next year, guys.
Exactly. Ring of Honor, that's a very good contender, considering now they are on television. They're not available in the UK or Ireland, but I'm sure there's ways and means of accessing their content. And as far as I've always heard, they've always been a very good alternative, and they've always been able to listen to their fans.
Well, you've got to consider, especially like the sort of people that have been picked up from Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
So you got if that's the case, then they must put on. Like, I've seen some Ring of Honor matches. I will admit I'm horrifically outdated on my Ring of Honor.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
but I've seen good things to have come out of it, so it couldn't be a bad alternative.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just actually getting hold of the actual content would be a bit awkward. The promotion that actually takes, I mean, we wouldn't watch TNA Just saying that because I think we're done with TNA. And TNA probably
It'd probably be
is
the easiest
easiest to
show
watch.
to watch. Yeah.
Easiest for us to find. I just think that me and Matt will get too frustrated with it. Because it's like, it's hard to get into anything that's going on with TNA because, even though I've heard that the product they're actually producing is not half bad, it's pretty good. It's hard to get that invested in a show that, it's struggling that much, behind the scenes. It's like, do I want to waste my time getting invested in these characters? Because tomorrow these characters might not be around, that's just the bottom line. The one I'd probably want to watch, but I couldn't because it's not really accessible, is New Japan.
Yeah, that'll be a tough one.
Yeah, they don't have a constant source of English commentary and a easier means of accessing its content. If it did have both those things, New Japan, hands down, we'll probably be reviewing that week in, week out.
Yeah.
But obviously, that isn't the case. So,
Likely.
if for the podcast, it would probably be Ring of Honor. For myself, probably Lucha Underground. That's probably my answer to that. What about you, Matt?
I think Lucha.
You think Lucha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucha or Ring of Honor, but I think it'd be a chore to try and find the pair of them.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't be too difficult, but I mean, I pretty much watch all my Lucha Underground on YouTube. But they literally just here's a 3-minute highlight video, and occasionally they'll put up a full match.
Yeah, it's like you've got to watch it in pieces, so you don't know if you're missing actual segments or not, which is a bit frustrating. And I noticed on the El Rey network over in the US, we don't get that in the UK, so it's actually very hard. They should syndicate that show. I know it might not get that many viewers. It doesn't actually get that many viewers as much as the fanfare it has, but I'm sure there'll be some station that'll be willing to give them a slot late at night. Sure, but obviously that hasn't been the case so far. And also he has another question here. About wanting our thoughts between a match between Triple H and Brock Lesnar. If Brock Lesnar wins, and obviously, probably likely that he would do, Paul Heyman would take over from the Authority. And he wants our thoughts on that. Now, that's quite interesting, the idea of having Lesnar conquer the Authority and essentially take their place. And he doesn't really care who's in charge, but Paul Heyman would definitely seize that opportunity. One thing I will say, the Authority needs to die, and Brock Lesnar needs to be the one to do it. Now, whether or not Paul Heyman assumes control or anything along those lines, it would be interesting. I don't know if they would go for it. And I don't want Brock Lesnar to destroy the Authority by beating Triple H in a match. I've seen Lesnar versus Triple H, and I don't like it. I'm not interested in Triple H and Lesnar.
I was going to say, you say you don't like it, but they had good matches. I think it's just the simple fact I don't need to see it again.
I don't ever need to see it again. And one thing I would say from their matches is that they were good matches. They weren't great. They were good. Some of them were bad. I think the Mania match at times was a bit poor. Their cage match was okay at Extreme Rules. But one of the things I thought with them is that they kind of went as far as they could go. That was as much as they could give. And unfortunately, it didn't match the matches that Lesnar's been having since then. So I don't want to see Lesnar and Triple H. If you're going to have it, then I'd much rather have Lesnar versus Rollins. Maybe Rollins has lost the belt to Reigns at that point. I don't know, but maybe that is the match then. Or maybe just do a huge handicap match: Rollins, Kane, J&J Security against Lesnar, and he fucking kills them all. I would love to watch that, but we'll see it from there. But God knows, regardless of how it's done, we need the Authority gone. It needs to die. It needs to go because it's painful at times, the Authority storyline. But there we go. And you know what? Yeah. If Heyman was to take over, Matt, that means we get Heyman each week,
which is never a bad thing.
I
think we're sort of going back onto the Austin podcast though, where he's just sort of it works it works better when he's Lesnar's advocate.
Yeah,
because he was saying how it's just sort of whilst it'd be good, he's always the other guy would always be in the shadow.
Yeah, I mean, we know that from first-hand experiences. You and me, Matt, we went blue in the face talking about fucking Cesaro last year. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm glad to see that he realised that as well. One of the things as well, by the way, just kind of going back to that podcast, one of the things that Heyman said resonated with me so well, and it happened again this week. Austin asked him, what do you think is one of the major problems with promos with the show, right? And one of the first things that Heyman said, and it's one of the things I hate about this show, is the constant narration. The first thing they get out there, well, last week I was here and this person did this, but I feel like this way. Oh, and then I'll pass the mic over to here. Last week I was doing this. And it's like, okay, we watched last week. You know, I was there. I don't need you to constantly keep reminding me of it and trying to explain it. I
am aware.
Yeah, it's not a Game of Thrones plot where some little intricacies here could be explained by characters. You feel different emotions to different characters. It's WWE, right? This is as simple storytelling as you can get. We don't need it explained to us again. And I just felt very glad that was literally, without even hesitating, that was the first thing that out of Heyman's mouth. It was like this sort of notion that they need to narrate what they've done. And then he explains how he does the same thing, but masks it to the crowd, and it's quite interesting to listen to that.
But then we are talking about the Godfather of promos. So.
Yeah. Do you remember fucking WrestleMania time? That guy was the Human Torch. You may as well just cast him as a Human Torch in the new Fantastic Four movie. He was on fucking fire throughout that entire month leading into it. Jesus Christ. I've not seen consistently fantastic promos from anyone for a while, so that's awesome. Now, let's get into our Elimination Chamber review, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
We've got two big shows to review here. We've got Elimination Chamber and Raw. A few interesting talking points from both, and I do have a problem with the ending of this show and the ending of Raw. Now, the ending of this show I don't have as much of an issue with, but we'll get there in the end. The show started off with the tag team match title. Sorry, I had to rephrase it from the last podcast. The Teddy Long Invitational, shall we?
There we go.
Call it the Elimination Chamber match.
The Teddy Long Wet Dream match.
If you want to take it down that shameless pay-per-view plot,
I think it has to.
I think it has to. Yeah. By the way, Matt wants to make that our first shirt. So anyone wants to maybe get something along those lines, then that may be in the pipeline. Because as soon as you said it, I was like, instantly, yeah, I think that has to be it. I thought this match, Matt, was a great way to kick off the show.
I loved it.
Yeah. Some people may say it was very spot-filled, and some people looked lost. But when you compare it to the Intercontinental Chamber match later on, this is easily the better one. Easily. I thought the IC match, we'll talk about that later, I thought the IC title Chamber match was pretty poor.
Yeah.
This match was
in comparison, definitely.
Yeah. Now, this was so entertaining for a certain Jerry the King Lawler that he forgot he was in 2015.
That's it. It's like, JR, what? I mean, we wish Cole was JR.
Yeah. Yeah, he called Cole JR, and JR was like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, like I said, I can only put this down to King was having so much fun and in this barbaric structure and people are killing each other and it's awesome, all this stuff's going on. He probably thought it was the Attitude Era. He probably thought it was 20 years ago. He was back in the Attitude Era days. But, yeah, I got a giggle out of that as well.
It was good. It was just like, I actually had to like rewind it. I was like, did he really? What?
It was one of those double take moments because I was listening to it and I was like, what did he say? Yeah, so he almost, by saying that, he almost transported myself back to that time. And wow, this is going to be controversial to say. I don't think many people disagree though. JR calling this match would have been a lot better.
JR calling every match would have been better.
Well, I think one of the main issues, not just with the brain dead of commentary, and they are at brain dead to be honest, but is the fact that when you've got Michael Cole talking about a big match, it just doesn't feel the same as when JR did it. With JR, it felt like a big occasion. With Cole...
there's no sense of the scale of the match. Yeah,
it's just like, oh, this is a big fight feel, and it's like, with JR, he's literally like having a fucking heart attack over how awesome this match is.
That's it. It's going to be a slobber knocker.
Yeah, like, it just doesn't have the same feeling at all.
Actually, it was just like... I don't know when I should mention this, because now we're talking about JR, but like, did you hear the Kevin Owens podcast?
No, I didn't know.
He learned how to speak English from JR, just watching wrestling.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Which was really odd, considering, like, it was during his promo on Raw. I was like, oh, yeah! Because suddenly the French accent creeps in.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it's quite funny, actually, when you think of that. You know, like, that is his primary, you know, his primary language and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, New Day win this match. We had predicted that. By the way, me and Matt, our predictions didn't go that well on this show, even though we got exactly all the same. They threw a few curveballs at us. But yeah, New Day did get the win. Primetime players were the last guys. So this sets up a feud that we did.
Well, the Ascension looked solid.
They did.
Primetime players looked solid.
Yeah.
So one thing, actually, we were like, if there's one thing, because think about Adam Rose, he has a beautiful spine buster. Nah, like Titus.
Yes.
Titus delivered such a spine buster.
It was a dirty spine buster, wasn't it? It was good. It was
mighty.
Good. He has to keep doing that. Absolutely. I tell you what, like, you and me, everyone knows we're biased. We're big PTP fans. Everyone knows that. But I just love the way that when Titus, like, slams people, he just fucking, like, dumps them, just throws them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, fuck it. There you go. Throw you off there like this. But still. But yeah, New Day win the titles. We knew this was going to happen. But it will be an interesting match that they have with the people who bring around millions of dollars to the WWE. Of course they do. And you said, Matt, they did like this promo about them coming out or something along the lines, which is quite funny. They made a few funny jokes, not like at the expense of Darren Young being gay, but just referencing the fact that he is, sort of thing.
It was just, they were just made the joke. It was just like the PTP's the coming out party, and they're just Titus like, nope, the coming out party was for you. You guys.
Yeah. And the whole rainbow stuff they did earlier on.
Oh yeah, that was great.
It's WWE.
That was in London, wasn't it?
Yeah. But you know what? Like, WWE could make this like a really cringeworthy thing, but I don't mind how they're doing that at the moment. You know, it's fine. They're not making fun at him for being gay. They're just kind of jokingly making reference to it without making reference to it, sort of thing. It's like for instance, like when Triple H was part of DX. The secondary formation, the tag team DX that he had with Michaels, like, they never referenced really that, like, Triple H was like, they would make constant references that he was with Stephanie, and everyone knew it at that point, but then for some reason his character at that point just refused to admit that it actually was possible. Yeah,
I loved that, especially considering they were taking the piss out of the fact that Michaels was Christian.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Again, was just like, hey, Sean, is that Mr. Fuji? Just to get him away from the flashing girl.
Yeah. Yeah, that sort of thing. So it reminds me a little bit of that. So, but I haven't seen many people getting angry about it, and like I said, they shouldn't.
It's simple fun.
It's just simple fun. It would be different if like Titus was laughing at him, like, ha ha ha, you're gay. It's just, no.
Homo.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
They're not.
No, that's not cool.
Yeah. And WWE wouldn't want to do that at the moment, as they are anyway. Anyway, moving on. Nikki Bella versus Paige versus Naomi for the Divas Championship. Yeah, your reaction is exactly what I thought. This match was pretty shit. I thought it was poo.
It happened.
It happened.
Leave it at that.
I tell you what, right? I've said recently that the Divas have been getting more time, but they haven't been able to do that much with the time that they've had recently. The whole give Divas a chance thing. Have they taken that ball and gone with it? I think that WWE at the moment are giving them the time, but they don't really want to. And you watch the majority of their matches, and it's quite.
I was going to say they need to be careful with the 4 horsewomen around the corner.
Yeah. What part of the problem is, and I'm not going to completely like bang on the Divas for not performing great matches. Part of the reason is that WWE don't promote them as a match that you want to see.
Yeah.
So, part of it is that, and WWE have educated their audience over the last 5 years that Divas don't mean shit. So, like I said, when the whole give Divas a chance movement, I said it's not what happens that makes a change next week. It's what makes a change next year. It's going to be a gradual thing. So far, the matches aren't up to scratch. That's just the bottom line of it. Now, the finish of this is fucking mind-boggling, in my opinion. Nikki Bella retains the belt, getting a clean victory over Naomi.
Yep.
Clean.
Done.
She's still the champion. They're making reference to the fact that she's had the longest reign. She's the longest reigning champion in WWE at the moment. And I thought it was absolutely, without doubt, time for Naomi to take that belt. And it was like a self-made thing where she takes the belt, maybe defends against Nikki on Raw to kind of deal with that, and then she faces Paige. And that's like literally an instant rivalry made. Instant, done.
Yeah.
But they had Nikki retain the belt.
How hard could it have been? Not very.
Yeah. They had her retain the belt, and on Raw she's gone heel again. So, You know, she went face for a little while. Remember, she was heel to begin with. She went face for a little while, where she was like, "Oh, I'll fight anyone for my title," and then suddenly she's gone back to heel again.
Yeah.
So she's been taking tips from Big Show, shall we say, the man of 1,000 turns.
That's it.
Along those lines. But yeah, I'll tell you what, Matt. I just thought. I mean, Nikki isn't doing anything particularly exciting with the belt. I think that
might be because Nikki Bella's not particularly exciting.
She's a decent enough wrestler. I just think that the whole thing's stale. It's boring. You know, I've got no interest in what's going on with the Divas title at the moment. When you flip it to NXT, I'm instantly excited. Okay, will Becky Lynch rise back up and try and get that belt again? Or maybe a new challenger will burst through the scene and we'll have another kick-ass match. WWE need to educate us again that the Divas on the main roster are something that's worth seeing. At the moment,
yeah,
meh. That's the bottom line of it. Kevin Owens versus John Cena. Easily,
yes,
without question, without any sort of argument, the best match of this week.
Yeah.
Easy. Well, like I said, not even
no problems to be labelling it like that.
Yeah. I don't think, like I said, a lot of people are going to be arguing with me about that. You know, it was exemplary. Exemplary, I think is the word. And it's not just Owens, who did fantastically in this match. It was Cena as well. I will give him props. And he has, when he finds the right person, he can have like Randy Orton. He can't have a good match with Randy Orton, right? He can have a good one. He can't have a great one. Not a memorable match with Randy Orton. But you can have a memorable match with CM Punk. He's had a few. You can have a memorable match with a few other people that he's got chemistry with. Kevin Owens is one of those guys. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if you saw the tweet that I sent out after I'd finally seen the match, which was essentially just fight Owens, fight Owens, fight Owens, fight.
Yeah.
and I guess a little bit of credit to John Cena, but nevertheless, hashtag fight Owens, fight.
Yeah, along those lines. I thought this match was a great introduction to what and who Kevin Owens is as a person, as a character, and it was a very hard-fought, close match. There was some great moves, just like pulled out of Kevin Owens' vast arsenal of moves. And it's funny as well that I was talking to Matt about this and before the show, obviously, and saying that Owens' arsenal about what he can do in the ring is way beyond that of Cena. Like, he's got way more that he can pull out of his pants, you know, and not just Seth Rollins' penis for dick pics.
Yeah.
Shameless pay-per-view blood.
More moves that he can pull out of his fight shorts.
Yeah, that's it. I was going a tangent.
Lost a bit of bullet for that one.
Yeah, that's it.
He hates fight shorts. Like, well.
Yeah, I thought this match was obviously excellent. I thought Owens was the driving force in this match. Or at least, obviously, the match was done with was as much execution to make it seem that way. And Owens gets the win. A clean victory over John Cena. Those are fucking rare. The only one that we've had, I think the only last one that we had was, I mean, to be completely clean, was probably Daniel Bryan. All those were, you know,
possibly,
2 years ago. I know Rusev got a win, but that was, I think, with a distraction from Lana or something along those lines, you know, so it wasn't, you know, completely clean. This was...
Actually, no, you say that. I saw a picture which was like, how many clean wins has Cena been on the receiving end? And it only worked out at like 8.
Yeah.
Like, in quite a few years.
Yeah. Because, you know, and that's one thing that's it's a big deal when you beat this guy completely 100% clean. Owens didn't cheat to win this match. Well, some people, you know, may argue that he should have because he was a heel, but I think it was more of an impact statement. So...
It's like, because he's a heel. Yeah, but I don't think Owens needs that. All he needs to do is just, like... Oh, Kevin fucking Owens.
Yeah, that was essentially what was here. And he took the mic after winning this match and basically, you know, verbally attacked Cena again, kind of copying all of his stuff and all of his statements and saying the actual champ is here and along those lines. Now, Matt, I'm going to have to bring this up. We've been praising this match a lot, and it's worth praising. However, as the classic statement is...
Don't do it.
It's about to go a bit Pete Tong.
Yeah, they want to taint it.
Yeah. And you may be asking, Tony, what do you mean? Literally, it's almost like the minute this match is finished, they announce, on the commentary, that there's going to be a rematch at Money in the Bank. Now, we all know, as soon as this came up, we all know where this is going. And I'm kind of ashamed that at one point I genuinely thought they were going to give Owens this win and just leave him be.
Yeah. It was that one thing you can just imagine, like, Vince McMahon just like, there you go, Paul. What do your guys want? You happy?
Yeah, and then I'm going to
Back to my way.
Yeah, back to my way. Guys, Cena's going to win the next 2 matches. He's going to win this rivalry. Owens ain't winning this rivalry, I'm telling you that much now. I just thought for 1 minute that Owens was going to win this match. He was going to go to NXT for a while, you know, wrap things up there, come back as the old conquering man of John Cena, and then maybe go for something there. But it does look like they're just like, okay, Owens got his win. Now Cena's going to get his win back. Then they're going to have the rubber match, which Cena will win because it's John Cena.
Yep.
It
makes me sad.
Let me put it this way, Matt, and it is incredibly sad. If Cena wins the rivalry by winning the next 2 pay-per-view matches, right? So there'll be Money in the Bank. There's not, and then it's SummerSlam after that, is it? Or I think there might be Battleground.
Probably.
Battleground, and then it's SummerSlam. I'm sure it is.
Possibly. I can't remember.
But regardless, right? So he wins the next 2 matches, regardless of what they are, right? That will show, once for all, for anyone who thinks otherwise, that WWE doesn't give a shit about anyone apart from who's next for Cena.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Just more for the chopping block.
Yeah. Who's next to give Cena his win? Rusev did it. He won his first match. Remember, everyone was like, "Oh my god, he's submitted John Cena." John Cena passed out. Then he spent the next 3 months jobbing to the guy. Yeah, he's being easily, soundly beaten by John Cena. Now it's not going to be as easily beaten, I don't think, but he still will beat Owens twice. He will win this rivalry, and it's very sad. But come on. It's John Cena. We've been WWE fans long enough to know where this is going, and it was very sad. Literally, the minute that thing came up, we've got a rematch for Kevin Owens. They're gonna do it again. I was like instantly just hand on my face, going, you just couldn't leave this awesome thing be.
Why? Why?
But still, here's my question to you, Matt: is this match of the year so far? So my question is it better than the Grave Consequences match of Lucha Underground or Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks?
Ooh.
Tough one, isn't it?
Oh. It's better than Grave Consequence.
Okay.
I couldn't say between that and Becky Sasha.
I would go that it's just short of Becky Lynch Sasha. That's just my opinion.
It's very close.
But what may go on as time goes on, this isn't like, you know, a ruling out as match of the year. As time goes on and I go and rewatch these matches, I may look at this match and say, well, this match technically had way more to it. And that is true.
I mean, I've gone back and watched Becky Sasha since that happened.
Yeah.
I haven't gone back and watched Cena Owens yet.
Yeah. I think that's maybe a bigger statement. I think the one thing that puts Sasha and you know, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch ahead of this is because the match meant a lot more.
Yeah,
this match.
I think it might also be because it was a proper game changer. Because it's like, especially like, it's not like we remember a time where, you know, we've seen women main event Raw, like we've seen Trish and Lita.
Yeah,
but like it was a proper game changer. It's like, hang on a second, they're women.
Yeah, and it's
sort of like, not to sound like a real sexist way or anything like that, but it's just sort of like, hang on, what?
This is awesome. Yeah,
like it's proper breaking the mold, shattering the stereotype sort of thing.
No, I firmly agree, and it's funny as well that they had like the championship walk-ins for that match, and then the main event didn't have that. You know, it seemed like even though Owens and Zayn was put as the main event, looking back at it now, the main event was Banks Lynch, and it performed. So, but maybe over time we think differently, maybe. But we'll leave that down to the end of the year. We've got plenty of months and hopefully plenty more of awesome matches to muse over. But at the moment, it's between those 3. So
yeah,
who knows? Lucha Underground could still win.
It'd be really odd if we're like, you know, a podcast that predominantly does WWE, and then it's like, and what was our match of the year? Say something from Lucha Underground. Mm-hmm. What?
Can I go from what we've seen there? Let's move on. Neville versus Dallas. This is a filler match that obviously didn't have a flying hope in hell in following Owens and Cena. Neville did his thing, won the match, the world moves on. That's pretty much my thoughts on the match. There's nothing really interesting to say here about it. And you can see here that I didn't even offer Matt any thoughts because I know exactly what his thoughts are, which is exactly what I just said. It happened. It happened. Let's all move on. Let's all forget about it. Intercontinental title Elimination Chamber match. This match was bad.
Yeah.
Very bad. Well, not very bad. I just say bad. I think that there was 2 points in this where I think, unfortunately, broke this match to a point where it became awkward, right? And I think both of them involve Mark Henry. Now, first of all, Mark Henry being there for one, right? Having to change around.
Yeah, well, especially it's like, oh, Rusev injured. Okay, that's not a problem. Like, surely, like, they could find someone. Mark Henry.
Yeah, I thought Wyatt would be maybe a guy they put in there and possibly even win the damn thing, but obviously not. And maybe that's the reason why. Well, no, considering what happened on Raw, no, that obviously didn't go into their mind. They would put Wyatt in there and made him lose, but I'll talk about that later. So, and there was another part here where Barrett was fighting and he threw, I think it was Ziggler against the pod, and the pod came like unstuck. You know, basically it burst open, right? Which is Mark Henry's pod. So he had to enter the match a lot earlier than maybe was previously planned. I don't think that was planned, that part was going to come apart.
Yeah, there was definitely a few moments where everyone was just sort of stood looking at each other, just like, shit.
Mark Henry spent the majority of the time in this match trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
It was painfully obvious. It really wasn't.
And, that was quite a lot of them. There was not even Mark Henry, though. There was quite a lot of the match where it's like, shit.
It was like parts of huge inactivity and almost nervousness and cluelessness. And that's not good words to be talking about a match. You know, this was an awkward match, and it at times the guys in there didn't know where to take it. And even at the end, it was okay, but it got to a point where the match itself had already passed, and it was already bad. You know, it couldn't really redeem itself. This is a Elimination Chamber match which no one will remember. The tag team match beat this one very easily. And that's an understatement. I think this match was a big failure, to be honest. It should have been a lot better than it was. Ryback, however, we all thought that Sheamus was going to win the belt. He's been advertised as such, but as we know, sometimes it isn't the case. That can be wrong. And it was. Ryback wins the Intercontinental Championship. He with he kind of power bombs Sheamus into the ring, then uses the shell shock and pins him.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan hands over the belt. It's quite a nice feel-good ending segment where Daniel Bryan says, he's the only guy who calls Ryback the Ryback, and he's done that ever since Ryback came in.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like a little calling card that they have between each other, and I think they get on Bryan and Ryback. So yeah, and it was quite a nice moment there, and it seemed very genuine when.
Like you had like Ryback, just sort of like, you've always been an inspiration, like even for the big guy.
Yeah. And a lot of people, Ryback got a very hard edge of things with the whole CM Punk stuff, right? But I've never said before, I don't think the guy is a legitimately, bad guy. He's obviously had some bad interactions with Punk, but I don't think he was a bad guy. I think he was a person put in a situation he wasn't ready for. But I never thought he was a bad guy. I always look at him and think he's probably a decent enough lad, so
yeah.
And glad that's his first championship. It's his first championship he's ever had. So that's awesome for Ryback. He can take this and hopefully go forward with it. This leads to the main event. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this main event was quite fun, I will say. And it was emotionally charged. A lot of fans were thinking, maybe, just maybe, this is the night where Ambrose can win the belt. And we weren't expecting a long reign, but we were expecting maybe he can win the belt. I made a reference to that in my predictions. There's a lot of interactions. Roman Reigns was banned from ringside, so he wasn't allowed there for the duration of the match. Ambrose, however, gets on top of things. He hits the Dirty Deeds. This is after, by the way, he accidentally lays out the referee after Rollins pulled him into a diving elbow. But another referee comes down and counts the full. 1, 2, 3. Dean Ambrose is the new World Heavyweight Champion. The entire arena pops crazy.
Or maybe he's not.
Or maybe he's not, exactly. Yes, we'll get there. The whole arena pops like crazy. He's even announced by Lillian Garcia. ladies and gentlemen, your new WWE World Champion, Dean Ambrose, and he's there and he's celebrating. He's got the belt in his hand, and then the referee comes in, and we all know where this is going. And basically, then the referee states, "Well, yeah, he still won the match, but it was by disqualification, so Rollins is still the champion."
No title change, yeah.
Upon hearing this news, Seth Rollins proceeded to either malfunction, either he's an android as well, just like we know that Ambrose is a clone. Or he just fucking derped to the 11th degree. Like, the guy's eyes basically fucking went all googly, and he was just fucking screaming in fucking delight.
I've seen some great pictures with that face.
Yeah. If I get time, that's going to be the cover of this week's show, more than likely, because it's a golden face. Let's just say that. It's special.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
I've yet to find maybe a hashtag starting up with his face or something, when he finds out something, just that, or when he realises he has an N64 for Christmas, and he's just like, ah, yeah! Eyes going all fucking
that face will creep up forever.
Yeah. Now, so basically what happens after this, and I'll explain reasons why I dislike this, and not in the reason why that is good for WWE. But Ambrose then fights off the Authority. Reigns comes and helps him, and they steal the belt. They do a CM Punk. They leave with the belt, and they go up the ramp, and Rollins is blowing a fucking gasket, and the match, the entire show ends with Ambrose leaving with the title, and he leaves the arena with the belt, but not as the champion, as the commentators explain to us. Now, Matt.
I mean, yeah, again, like you say, you say Rollins flips his shit. Nowhere near as much as JBL. Yeah,
JBL, well, he fucking blows a gasket over El Torito's fucking tail, so I've kind of gone a little bit numb to it. But yeah, you are right. He was going mental about it as well. Matt, I wonder if you already know the reason why I dislike this. And it's a little bit interesting because a lot of people like the ending to this show, and I can understand why. The ending being that Ambrose, because everyone was like, "Oh, they got me." I was so happy about Ambrose, and then they took it away from me. It was really great booking and all this lot. For the moment, in that moment, it was fun, and it was a moment that you will remember. But down the line, having finishes like this is harmful to WWE. And the reason being for that is the next time Dean Ambrose wins the belt and wins it legit, it's going to be in the back of the mind of fans going, are we really going to have to pop huge for this, or are they going to take the belt off him again? They need, when he wins the belt, they need to keep it pure, in my eyes. If he wins the belt, he's won the belt. That's it. No next night taking the belt off him. No, all this bullshit that they did.
Yeah, he's got to run with it.
Because essentially what it was a fuck finish. It was an elaborate fuck finish, but it was a fuck finish, right? Where you thought he'd won the belt, and then they kind of steal it away from you at the last moment. It will diminish the moment where Ambrose wins that belt for real, because it's like, but we were already there. We already experienced it, and then they changed it. And then it was taken away.
Pulled it away from us.
Yeah.
No, doesn't matter.
And then they're going along with the storyline where Ambrose is stealing the belt, even though it's not his. I just feel for the moment where he wins it legit, and then he doesn't get as big of a response as maybe he would have if it was kept, building up to that.
Yeah.
Or even can you imagine if this was Ambrose winning the belt for real, and then the next two pay-per-views Rollins is trying to get it back, and he does before SummerSlam. That was the original thought. If he does that, then the fans will go mental. It's a moment everyone's going to remember. It would end the show on a real high. But here now, I think it creates more problems for WWE, and they walk a really thin line when they book stuff like this, because it is putting at risk crowd responses in the future for what should be a very special moment in someone's career.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I disliked it. But I'm definitely not going to fault people for getting into the moment and, oh, damn it, they got me. Because they got me, to be honest. I thought they had given him the belt, and then they had flipped it. What do you think?
That's good.
What do you think? What do you think about it? Am I letting my forward thinking cloud my judgment on this a little bit too much?
No, I wouldn't say so. I completely understand where you're going with it.
Yeah.
But it's just I did think it was really good, because it gets back on the whole, now they can just feud over it, and obviously they're going to have a match at Money in the Bank. Yeah, I don't think it's such a terrible thing. But yeah, I completely understand. It's like, oh, well, it's but we've already popped for this.
Yeah, a little
We've
bit.
got to pop again.
And I still think with Ambrose winning the belt, they could still feud. I always thought in the end, Rollins would win it back, become 2-time champion, then go face Lesnar. Like, the idea that I had was that Ambrose wins it. Maybe you've got Rollins trying to get it back, and he does get it back at Battleground. He wins the title back. They have this big elaborate thing, where maybe they've got a special celebration for the champion, the returning champion, and who's there to break it up? Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He's like, remember me? I'm here to kill you, remember?
Where was my invite to this party?
Yeah. Which would be a cool moment, but obviously they're going in a different direction. And all that. So the show as a whole, I think, unfortunately, didn't live as much up to the billing and the card that maybe it should have. The IC title elimination match was bad. Although the main event was quite fun, I will say that, and the Owens Cena match was excellent. The Divas match was was bad. And the tag team IC title match was good, but it could have been a little bit better. So I think there's stuff to see on this show, but unfortunately there's a few matches that you'd just be, I don't want any part of this.
That you could just sort of fade out of.
Yeah. The two extra matches that he added in were just really forgettable. The Divas match and the Neville Dallas match. It was filler, to be honest. But any other thoughts from Elimination Chamber, or shall we move on to our Raw review?
I think it's about time to move on. I can't think of anything else.
I think you're right. Considering now we don't exactly have much time to talk about the build-up to Money in the Bank. It's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, if they're going to keep this as a regular thing, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, already. I'm not a fan. Well, you said before, maybe this could be a fun way of going. No. We need to go back to... As much as we hate mid-monthers, and they do need to do more on their shows, just having these shows at such a quick interval.
Yeah, it could start working out to be actually quite damaging.
Yeah. Now, we obviously know that the only reason why it happened this time is because they added in this as a network exclusive, because probably they couldn't find a place to do the chamber, and then maybe...
Oh, actually, do you know one thing that's actually really pissed me off?
Go on.
Now, this probably could have actually been as part of the news, but oh well.
Go on, yeah.
May is the free month.
Mm.
June is a free month.
Yeah.
Where's my fucking free month as a paid subscriber?
I think in the last...
Stop giving it away for free.
Is it the last 5 months or something? They've had 3 free months in those 5 months or something along those lines. It's
probably
crazy. Yeah, they've done another 3 months. Yeah, it is a little bit silly. I think to be honest,
the one thing I'd love if they just created restricted access network.
What do you mean?
Oh, you like watching things on the WWE Network? Well, how about you unlock the rest of it?
Oh, so it gives you a taster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of oh, you like watching the Monday Night War documentary. That's all well and good, but you can only watch 3 episodes of it.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
You can watch the pay-per-view. Oh, that's cool.
I used to work, for people that have been listening to the podcast for a while, I used to work for Sky. Sky TV. Yeah. And one of the things that I constantly hear from people was, you're doing all these deals for new customers, but I've been a loyal customer for you for 10 years. Where's my deals? And I would hear that from people constantly, and it was one of the most major gripes from consumers of that particular product. Now, obviously, you can't transfer that immediately for WWE, but I'm sure there is some similarities there. And the fact that, that some customers are feeling okay, you're giving away this network for free, I should just keep cancelling and coming back, because then I'll get it for free again.
That's it.
Now, I know why they're doing it, Matt, and it's what I said back at WrestleMania. Remember when they announced those fantastic numbers for the network? Do you remember that? And I said...
And they want that number to get bigger.
They want to keep that number, right?
Yeah.
To me, they've lost subscribers a lot over the last 3 months, and that's the reason why they're going full free month, to kind of curb it. So when the next conference call they have, they don't have to announce that they've lost 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And we said back then that the best they could hope for, and a win for them, if they can get any higher, then fantastic, but a win for them is just to stay the number that they were.
Yeah.
But I expected that they wouldn't. I think they will get lower. Not much lower, but I think they will get lower. Let's get into the Raw review, Matt. 1 night removed from Elimination Chamber. We're now on the way to Money in the Bank, 2 weeks. Means we've had a month without mid-monthers. Funny that one.
It's almost like Elimination Chamber has been our mid-month.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, a little bit. Some of the card has already been shown. We've got Cena Owens 2, which is documented. Our thoughts on that are very well documented already. Brock Lesnar is returned to come back very soon. I imagine it's just after Money in the Bank. So,
yep.
to see if WWE can make some momentum. It's obviously he's back a little bit early if you look at that, because I always thought he'd be back just a month before SummerSlam. But
I think it's because they're struggling with numbers.
Yeah.
From what I hear, it's like, oh, we're struggling a bit.
Yeah.
Bring on the Lesnar.
Bring on the Lesnar. Bring in our main attraction when you need him, and he's definitely going to boost their numbers up. So,
it's yet again going back to the Heyman podcast, where it's like having let Brock around is an attraction. It's like everyone loves Christmas, but you can't have Christmas 365 days of the year.
No, you can't. And you know, I've always agreed with that, having Lesnar. People are like, oh, he's so part time. Yeah, but every time Lesnar's on the screen, you have to watch it. I could miss a week of wrestling with John Cena, though. You know, that's just the bottom line of it. I always said that John Cena could probably be much more useful to WWE if he would step back. They could promote someone more, and he himself takes a Lesnar sort of schedule, comes in every now and then, works the odd match and something along those lines. But maybe later on in his years, Vince just wants to work until he's dead. So that's the bottom line of it. This show emanated from San Antonio, Texas, a place that I want to eventually visit just to see the Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs. I'm a big basketball fan, so I want to see them do their thing. And funny that they were referenced here on this show, but we'll get to that in a minute.
They were in the hometown.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like 101, reference hometown, get cheer or boo depending on statement.
Yeah, pretty much. It's basically what the Miz is like. You know, MO has been for, you know, since he started, really. So,
yeah.
The Authority kick off Raw, and I'll take a certain quote from a certain Alberto Del Patron. You already knew that.
Yeah.
Because they always open the show. Stephanie McMahon narrates what's happened, and I stated before, I imagine Paul Heyman probably was reminded of his dislike of that happening with what's going on. The fact is, like, the first 5 minutes of the show are the opening track, the entrance of the Authority, and then explaining what happened last week. The first 5 minutes are fucking always boring as shit.
Yeah,
that is a problem. Triple H gives Ambrose the opportunity to hand back the title, and then they will discuss what will happen then. Now, I'm not a professor, apart from the NXT report card, of course, but hinting that you're going to fire someone or discipline them, or, you know, in some way give them some sort of consequence for doing something after, and you want them to give them up their only trump card, that he's not exactly going to play ball. You know, it's the bottom line. Triple H needs to take some lessons on negotiation, you know, along those lines. If he really wants what he wants back, then maybe he should change his words along those lines. Roman Reigns thought someone said his name, so he comes out. They didn't. So he thought so. That's the only reason why he could come out. Reigns tells them that Ambrose isn't around. In fact, he might not ever come back unless he gets a ladder match for the WWE title at Money in the Bank. Now, Rollins is adamant that Ambrose didn't beat him. Now, if we're being technical, Ambrose did beat him. It was just a DQ. So, you know that.
Well, if we're being even more technical, Ambrose would have kind of beaten him twice.
Kind of, yeah. If you look at it that way. Now, Reigns says that Rollins used to be cool in the Shield, but now he's just the worst WWE champion ever. And I imagine the Miz's ears pricked up with that sentence.
Yeah.
Worst WWE champion.
It's like, hang on, who's trying to take my title away from me?
Yeah, he's trying...
I'm the worst, damn it! Look, I even have a stupid hood this week.
I would probably have a hard time convincing someone who doesn't watch the show that he used to be world champion. I probably would have.
I was just like explaining to you that I recently watched the Randy Orton Evolution of a Predator, and it's just like, we're only talking like 2011. It's like he's waiting to face the Miz. It's like,
for the world title. Yes.
What?
Yeah, it just seems so strange. Rollins anyway says that he doesn't need the Authority to be Ambrose, and he'll take Ambrose's challenge. He kind of freaks out. He's
Rollins has a tantrum.
Yeah, he does. He's like, I don't need
you. The one thing, it was during that moment where like Triple H is constantly just like trying to pull him back, like, you need to calm down, you need to listen to me, sort of thing. I was like, am I going to have predicted this correct? Are we going to get Rollins Triple H? I reckon that'll happen eventually. I think we're going to get Reigns Triple H a lot earlier, but that's just my opinion. So Rollins here, he's, like I said, he's pushing away Triple H, you know, and he calls Kane a 7-foot pile of crap, and leaves. He just says, I accept, and just walks out. Yeah, he has a tantrum.
Stephanie then talks down Reigns because she hadn't done that yet. And Triple H says that if Reigns loses his match tonight, then he's out of the Money in the Bank ladder match, and then leaves to find an opponent for him. And this is just an ordinary opening segment. It's just as boring as the rest. I was painfully bored, unfortunately, throughout some of this. And as I said, it's part of the reason why the Authority need to go. I think it's beyond the joke now. Like that joke that I rode for weeks and weeks and weeks. I feel bad bringing it up now because it's like, yeah, they just fucking open every single Raw all the time. It's painful. It's not a joke anymore. It just hurts. King Barrett is the one who answers that call. He faces Roman Reigns. Now this all builds up to a rant, which I will state at the end of this show, where I will explain that WWE doesn't give a shit about one of its wrestlers, and we'll get into that. So, this is a decent match to kick off the show. Some good physicality here and there.
Solid.
As you would expect from these two big guys. You know, some big hits here. Reigns gets the win via the spear. Keeps himself in the Money in the Bank ladder match for now. One thing I will say for Reigns, and nothing I'll say is much of an indictment of himself, is that his in-ring work looks a lot more confident now that the pressure of the WrestleMania season is off his shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, he just seems like he's settled in a lot better now. Like, the whole cloud over him has sort of moved on and he's been able to move away from it. Either that or he's progressing. Either or, it's still good for him. You know, he's looking better, he's performing better, Reigns.
Yeah.
So... I mean,
look at the crowd. The crowd are all for him as well.
Yeah. I mean, have you noticed that in just in his overall,
just him really? It's his overall presence, really. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with that as well. And then obviously just kind of sitting back and then letting Ambrose have his moment. Reigns is still kind of there doing his thing, which makes it a little bit easier for the guy. He will be WWE champion this year. I'm absolutely sure.
Yeah.
So. Backstage, Stephanie and Triple H congratulate Reigns on his win. But they say, well, that's not your only match. You're now going to go fight Mark Henry. Now, Reigns was quite sweaty here from his match, but still no more sweaty after Mark Henry walking to the ring. You know, along those lines. Or even Brock Lesnar after waking up. You know, the guy pretty much sweats all the time. You know, we know him. He literally does one German suplex, and the fucking thing is now a swimming pool. You know, it's just of his sweat. I don't know how one man can sweat the amount he does, but Brock Lesnar does it.
No, well, it just pours off of him, doesn't it?
Yeah, I went back and watched the SummerSlam match, you know, the one he had. This is the one that he was kicking 7 barrels of shit out of Cena. And Cena's not really sweating at all because he's not doing that much work because Lesnar's the one flinging him all around the place.
Lesnar, on the other hand,
Lesnar's fucking caked. He's like dripping from the fucking eyes and like nose, mouth, fucking sweat onto the floor. And I'm like, the guy's gonna die. I mean, someone get him a fucking bottle of water now before he loses all of the, the water out of his body. Jesus, it's crazy. Moving on from sweat, moving on from there, because apparently, remember, Big E sweats. That used to be his character trait for a while. But
oh God, yeah.
Luckily,
with his towel.
Brian Saxton interviews Nikki Bella, and she advises us that. He advises us that Nikki's been champion for 6 months. Nikki then says she's honoured to be a part of the division. This division that consists of about 4 decent female competitors that at the moment aren't having good matches, but still proud to be part of that division. Paige shows up saying that she deserves a one-on-one title shot, and Nikki accepts as long as the match is tonight. So then they look at each other. That's pretty much it.
Ooh.
Guys.
Angry looking.
Matt, would you like to rate the ability of Nikki's promo?
I'd rather not.
Do you know why that is, people? Because Matt doesn't like rating things that are shit. Nikki is a bad promo. She is awful. Watch her. Watch her very forced hand gestures. Watch her the way that she recites her lines. She is bad. Really fucking bad. The fact is that she acts better on Total Divas. I don't understand how she can't just translate that into what happens on a...
Well, because all she has to be on Total Divas is a slutty drunk.
No, it's the other one. Brie Bella's the one that's slutty drunk on that one. It's not really slutty. She's the drunk in it, and Nikki Bella's just a slut for John Cena. So, it's the way it is. Guys,
watch it more than I.
To the bottom line of this, Nikki Bella fucking sucks on promos, right?
Yeah.
And I watched it this week. It was especially prevalent. Go back and watch it. It's just the hand gestures. Everything she does is forced and rehearsed. I shouldn't look at someone on a show and think what you're doing is forced and rehearsed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paige
It's
seems
like
to
someone
get
else
away.
could spot it. It's like, wrong.
Yeah, like Paige seems to get away with it not being that bad. So you should be able to, considering how long you've been there. You know?
Yeah.
To be honest. I mean, even Naomi's better than that. And she ain't that good, Naomi, on a mic. But still, that was awful. Maybe it was just a bad week for her, but it just reminds me of the majority of her promos are just bad. Yeah, it's the bottom line of it. Ryback versus The Miz. That's right, The Miz is back for the IC title. Ryback takes the...
Somehow, I didn't quite understand that when they were just like in a title match with The Miz. I'm like, huh?
How exactly has he earned said title
Yeah.
match? Yeah. All you have to do is film a bad movie, and you get an IC title match. So anyone who wants that, feel free to go and film a bad movie.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Straight to DVD.
did you hear? Now this is way off on a tangent, but for our more soccer, football related fans, did you hear that FIFA? 'Cause all the stuff that's going on with FIFA at the moment, with them being corrupt, which everyone knew, it's just only coming out now, right, to the public. Did you know that they?
Sepp Blatter, yeah.
Yeah, it was Seb Blatter, right? Who's like one of the most corrupt people in the world. Everyone knows it. It's just he's only starting to get to it now, right? And it's almost like this spectacular destruction of this organization. They funded a movie. They gave 18 million, euros or dollars or whatever they were doing, but they funded the large majority of this movie that was about them. It was about FIFA itself, right? Called United
Really?
Passions, yeah. And it consists of
Wow.
them portraying Sepp Blatter as the all-conquering, uncorruptible saviour of football. And it's hilarious. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen some of the clips out of it. I've seen the trailer. It's amazing. And it's also offensive towards British people, because apparently we're all racist. If you remember, FIFA famously doesn't like England, right?
Oh, come on. We're talking about, stereotypically, most people think England and football, they just think like Euro Trip.
Yeah.
Just like Vinnie Jones.
Yeah. Apparently it's a spectacular. You look at the Metacritic of it, by the way, guys. It's a spectacular train wreck, almost as spectacular as the buildings that get destroyed in San Andreas.
What was it called again?
United Passions. Just search it up on Metacritic now. It's almost hilarious because it's
Tim
basically
Roth and Sam Neill.
yeah. These fucking great actors they're in it.
I'm
And
on
it's like,
IMDb. It's great.
yeah.
2.8. Metascore 1.
Yeah, it's basically that people are saying it's modern day propaganda. And it came out just at the time that proved that all these people are corrupt, even though the movie tries to say that no one's corrupt.
No, we're not.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Sorry to break up the Raw review, guys, but honestly, even if you're not a fan of football, this is still fucking funny. This is like Tom Brady, right, for our American fans, doing the whole Deflategate thing, and then having a movie come out stating he didn't do Deflategate. That was filmed ages ago, right? It's like the timing of it is just hilarious. It's amazing.
Tim Roth in so many great things.
Yeah! Fucking Tim Roth, man! Oh, man, I don't know. And Sam Neill as well. He's a decent actor as well.
Yeah, Jurassic Park, Event Horizon, just no.
Funny enough, do you know who Tim Roth plays? Sepp fucking Blatter.
Yeah, I can see. Oh, no.
Oh, it's still good. So honestly, look that up, guys. You'll have a laugh. Just from the reviews alone. It's hilarious. Anyway, back to Ryback versus The Miz.
Yeah.
Ryback takes the mic before the match, and he says he's proud to be the Intercontinental Champion. He praises San Antonio for the ovation he received when he returned last year. And that was the couple of Raws, if you remember, where he was treated like the hottest commodity in wrestling. Like, it was like, we need him on our team, and along those lines. So, yeah, it was awesome stuff for him there. I tell you what, Ryback has a decent promo in him. He's not a bad speaker, as much as people may think he is. He's far better than a lot of people on the roster. But
he's better than a lot of people give him the credit for.
Yeah, and this face stuff is just easy bread and butter to him. It's just easy, just
that's it. Go out there, just pander to the crowd, tell them you're thankful for them.
Yeah, that you're the big guy, and you wouldn't be the big guy without them. This sort of stuff. It's It's kind of a little bit too easy. I hope that maybe he has a better promo and it becomes more genuine. I really love that promo where he was very genuine and he talked about all the problems he's had in his career and all the injuries he's had. I thought that was a great promo.
Yeah.
So The Miz is back on Raw. He, as you said, he filmed a bad movie. I obviously haven't seen it, but come on, it's going to be bad. Everyone knows.
Oh, please don't. Is this the one that Paige was in?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Make of that what you will. Talking of weathered stars that I'm not in the least part interested in, The Big Show also returns. He knocks out The Miz and then looks at Ryback in the eye. So we're now getting Big Show versus Ryback.
Yeah, you call yourself the big guy, but I'm the Big Show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of writes itself. I would argue, though, who really wants to see The Big Show versus Ryback? And this is when I thought of this. What match do I want to see The Big Show in? And then I came to
I don't want to see him in a match.
Yeah. The guy's outplayed. I mean, come on. I mean, it was Kane. Kane is like that as well. He's wrestled everyone 5 times, and he's done everything that he needs to. There comes a point where you're there and you're not really doing that much, and I think Big Show's like that at the moment. It's just a bit boring, Big Show.
It's almost terrible, especially considering, like, you've got people like Kane, like, especially Kane, who's like, I'm not going to go like, oh my god, he's so good, but he's so consistent and solid. And I was like, but now it's hit a point where, like, what can he do?
Yeah, he can't do anything, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, the role he's in, he can perform in the ring every now and then, but, like, the character that he is just so frustrating,
Yeah.
And the difference with that is, I mean, when we look at Big Show, it's just like, he's now got an aura around him, and whenever I see the guy, I'm just like, ugh, what are we going to see now? And that's really bad.
Oh, he's back.
He's done good work for them, and he's a good worker, and he's experienced. He's a good professional. But man, people are just done with him. Like they've seen more than enough of him. So that's the bottom line of it there. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm not the only person that feels that way. I think the majority of people do. So
yeah.
Talking of people though, however, that we do want to see that's new and interesting, Kevin Owens comes to the ring. He takes the mic in for what would be 2 of the best promos back-to-back on this show by a clear mile.
Yeah.
He says when he promises to do something, he delivers, whether it be winning the NXT Championship, injuring Sami Zayn, or beating John Cena. He does it all. He says he's going to do it.
That's it. What a shock. Done.
He says that his wife was proud of him, but his son kept asking him, how's John Cena? And he's a big John Cena fan. He was worried about Cena's well-being. And then Owens went on to blame the system for portraying Cena as Super Cena. That was the word he used, Super Cena.
Do you know one thing I loved is the fact that, like, I don't know if it wasn't on Raw. I think it was his. He had a promo on SmackDown.
Okay.
But he was just like, but he's 7.
Yeah.
It's sort of like saying how his son's a Cena fan, but it's like, but he's 7.
Yeah.
He's meant to. Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff that you're saying even on this promo was, I don't blame him. It's just the way that WWE has perceived it.
I find it really interesting that Owens brings his family up quite a lot.
Yeah, it's part of his character now. I think his family is a huge part of his character traits. That he's a bad man, but he does have at least some noble intentions. It creates a very interesting grey area with him, and I've always liked that.
The worst part is I'm about to completely geek out because obviously, as you know, we play D&D. Like you and I play D&D. I play it as well on the other nights. But it'd be like he would be chaotic good. It's like it's for the good reason, but he doesn't care how he does it, even if it's bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's almost like an anti-hero if you look at it in that sort of sense. But he's only for himself, so he is a heel. He is selfish. Like he will take other people's things away, but he does it because that's what he perceives to be the good thing for himself and his family. So that's what I like about it. But yeah, he's talking here about the the system being behind Cena, and when Cena's promo comes out, he kind of talks against that. But to be honest, that is true. A lot of stuff is said about this week about apparently Cena only talked to that the person in the crowd that was beating cancer, and he made lots of references to that in his promo, which we'll get to in a minute. And people were saying, oh, there was petitions started against him and stuff like this. I'm like, guys, what Owens was saying was kind of true, yes, WWE does show Cena doing a lot of this stuff, but I've never thought that Cena doesn't take any pride in doing it or does it strictly because of it. So back even with the time of the Connor's Cure, when I said about Stephanie McMahon and Trips, I said, it's not as if, they're doing it just for their evil gains, we can use this child. Obviously, they're doing it out of their own heart. It's just that they get other stuff from it as well. That's just corporate America.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
you're just sort of like, oh, what are they going to gain? Well, what does it matter if they gain anything? They're doing the right thing to begin with.
Yeah, like, you ask that kid, do they give a shit? That kid's going to say no. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And I think you could use this energy in much better places.
I mean, that child was allowed in the ring.
Yeah.
Actually, after the dark match, wasn't she?
Yeah. So
shut up.
yeah, to these people, like, listen, there's much more important things to be talking about here, you know, along those lines. Even back with the Connor the Crusher stuff, which we sided with Justin Roberts and said, look, we understand, but at the end of the day, you know, it's all about giving him the best moments he could have. And yeah, WWE do get something from it, but there was some good done there, and yeah, you know, he's kind of to accept it along those lines. So this brings out Cena. Oh, sorry. Before then, he says that Cena is a broken man, and he will expose the lie that is Cena. And then he wants all the little children, he wants all the parents to sit their children in front of the TV at Money in the Bank because he's going to kill Cena, essentially, you know, along those lines, and just destroy him. So Cena comes down, and he starts his promo off. His promo, by the way, is just as good. It was.
Oh yeah.
These guys will.
It's the one thing is like
really
sort of you can't take it away because you're just sort of like we kind of bash on Cena sometimes, but like he can deliver.
Yeah, oh no, like I said, he's got the thing is with Cena, right? Because there's so much of Cena, right? We've seen him non-stop for 12 years, right?
Yeah,
he can do great groundbreaking promos. But in the meantime of him not doing that, then he's got almost like 5 placeholder promos that he goes and revolves around all the time.
Yeah.
And that's when John Cena gets boring and stale. But when he's got someone like this, which is like, you know, a whole new program for him with someone that's really good on the mic, the guy almost comes alive. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like, this isn't just the same old chaff. This is something a little bit different.
I see you're a passionate person. I could also be a passionate person.
Yeah. It just works off it, you know. So he did deliver a great one here. He starts off by saying that Owens is a jackass. He admits that Owens beat him in the most impressive debut in WWE. And before Owens started speaking, he was about to come down to the ring and hand him the United States Championship.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know that its poisonous losing effects have started to sink in, even on the C Nation commander. So, you know, he's now lost a match. He's thinking, well, I don't want any part of this mid-tier belt. I'm getting out of here before I start.
No thanks.
Yeah. I'm obviously joking. So he goes on to say that Owens doesn't deserve any championship. Now, this is the one part of the promo I was like, huh? Sorry, I think that we're way beyond the thoughts of only good guys can be champions. Yeah? Who's the biggest prick in the world? Floyd Mayweather. Right?
Yeah.
He's also a boxing world champion. Why? Because he's a very good fucking boxer. He's not a good person.
That's it. Do you need another excuse?
Yeah, like, he's already admitted to himself he's a horrible human being. Does that mean that they should strip him of the belts? Like, yeah, there is a point there where maybe some of the actions that he does are deplorable and maybe should be stripped of those belts. But you could be a prick and still be a champion. Being a prick doesn't get in the way, you know, of you being good at your work, you know, unless you're, like, you know, fucking abusing people along these lines, and that is going too far, but... I just think it was a bit weird. It's like, oh, he said bad things, so he doesn't deserve any championship. Like, maybe he's better in the ring. That's why he deserves a championship. It seemed a bit weird.
Sure.
He goes on to say that Owens isn't a real man, and explains that it isn't the marketing team that makes Cena the hero to kids. Well, it is, but I'll let that one slide. He cuts then a very passionate promo defending himself and his fans, and then gives some word of encouragement to the the kid in the crowd that, you know, was beating cancer, which I very much hope everything goes well for that particular person. And then he finally says that Owens' mantra isn't fight Owens, fight, it's never give up. It's actually Cena's mantra. And this was quite a cool little turn on the promo.
I really enjoyed that bit, especially when it's like, oh.
Owens' expression to this, by the way, is almost like you basically had slapped his wife's face in front of him, sort of thing. It was almost like you insulted everything that he was. It was awesome. He was livid with all this going on. But as they're about to get into a scrap, Owens decides, you know what, don't really want any part of this, and gets out of Dodge. This segment was awesome.
That's it. Well, we forget, what's the first thing that Owens said when he was on Raw? He is a prize fighter.
Yeah. Yeah, this was brilliant, by the way. I thought this promo was excellent. Both guys playing off each other. Owens was brilliant. Cena was brilliant. Now, the only thing I can kind of nitpick with this is that this is all done because they basically want to give Cena adversity that he can rise above. And that is all that Owens is at the moment. In Vince's eyes.
Never give up, rise above hate,
Yeah.
and all that malarkey.
And he was going to rise above, Owens and beat him. It's just a little bit of a shame with that. But if you put all that aside and where they're going with it, then this promo was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Really good stuff. Kofi Kingston, moving on from that. Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. The New Day come out and they call Tim Duncan old. And this is why I prove to everyone that Matt doesn't know who Tim Duncan is.
Not a clue.
Take a guess.
I would probably say either a star player or like manager of the local team.
What sport? You are right, but what sport?
I don't know. Local team.
Take a guess. Take a guess.
Basketball.
Oh, he's done it! He's done it!
Just because you mentioned basketball earlier.
Fair enough. I did kind of lead you into it, yeah. Tim Duncan is the man that time forgot. He just played like fucking tons of seasons and he's still really, really good. He's a really tall motherfucker, but he's good. He's very good. But yeah, the first thing they say is that they call him old, but that's the thing. He is old and he's still amazing. That's kind of what's awesome about Tim Duncan, right? Like, time, like, his age doesn't make any sort of disparity into how good he is at the moment. He's still fantastic and still an amazing player for them, so. But as you say, if you're going to slam the hometown hero, then you are going to get heat, which is exactly what they get. Kofi says he's going to become Mr. Money in the Bank, and when he does, all of New Day will become Mr. Money in the Bank. And I need to precurse this before all the Kofi fans come out and say for the millionth time to me, it's time for Kofi to get a title push.
No.
I will remind everyone how moronically stupid that sounds. It's fucking stupid.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
I think it's just sort of like he's got he's got his tag titles, leave it be.
Yeah.
And also we were saying like earlier in the fan feedback and sort of like the questions, it's like if we don't think Ziggler's gonna get it,
Then
Jesus.
Kofi's not getting it.
Sure as hell not getting it.
He's in there because he can do some awesome stuff in a ladder match, and that's great. But he's not winning
He's
that.
proven.
Like, I get a lot of crap, and maybe I kind of put it on myself by releasing a video months ago saying this is why Kofi Kingston will never win the WWE Championship. And I can understand some Kofi fans were here because I've never done a video like that before, but it was done into reaction of some interaction stating, oh, why do you think that? And then I tried to explain. Now, since then, I've liked what Kofi's done recently, but the very idea that some of the Kofi fans still come out, some of them are die-hard, and they're like, this is the moment we've been waiting for. No, it's not happening. He's not winning anything. That's just the bottom line. All right? And it's moronic to think otherwise. You just look at the track record. Lana, then, is out with Ziggler. She stays on the ramp, which is a bit odd in of itself.
Yeah, sort of like, why are you all the way over there?
Yeah, just a bit. Now, it's a short match. It really is. And this is a part where the show started going through a lot of stuff really quickly. Ziggler wins with a reversed roll-up pin. Not the most devastating move in wrestling history. It's a different style of roll-up. And then he gets beaten up by the New Day. And then the PTP show up to add some lucrative value of the match to, dare I say, millions of dollars.
Yeah, of some value.
Yeah.
I forget what.
Man, I still look back when we were at Raw. If PTP were at Raw, we would have been the two goofs on the fucking thing they're showing going fucking mental with the dance. We would exactly we would have been hard to miss, I think, to be honest. So as you'd imagine, Teddy Long rules. This turns into a 6-man tag team match.
Yeah.
Because
especially considering it was one of those ones like, oh, welcome back to Raw, and it's now a 6-man tag match. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, if a match is like, if the guys are still around when commercial happens and they're still clearing the ring, but the guys haven't left the arena, you haven't gone back up the ramp, when the commercial comes back, it's going to be a 6-man tag match. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Now, I really liked the New Day displaying some pretty good 3-man chemistry during this match.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, some of the stuff they were
doing.
All
those proper quick tag in, tag out, sort of like where they did that rotation, where they went around like, Jesus, so the three of them probably got in about 3 times each.
Yeah, just to stomp on Darren Young. Yeah.
Just tag, step right. Tag, step right.
Yeah. But not even that, like, they had some great chemistry, these guys, and obviously working on it. It reminded me a bit, because the best tag team that does that is Kid and Cesaro. I think this was just as good as that. I think it was good. Now, the best thing going for PTP at the moment, the Primetime Players, is the Titus O'Neil hot tag, where Darren Young gets an ass kicking, gets to Titus O'Neil, and Titus O'Neil fucking flings people everywhere. It's quite entertaining to watch, and the fans are definitely into it. I'll give them there. Titus clears house, and he wins with a pump handle slam. So the PTP and Ziggler do get the win. Primetime Players need a tag team finishing move stat. They need it now. Pump handle slam ain't going to cut it. So I'm a little bit shocked that even New Day doesn't even have a tag team finisher. It's a little bit of a shame, to be honest.
Yeah.
You look back in the days, like with the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian, they all had their own finishers and they're all known, you know.
Do you know what the worst thing is? You say they're all known, and I'm really struggling to remember the Hardys one.
Well, they had a Twist of Fate and a Swanton Bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then you had the
3D.
The 3D, and then you've got obviously you've got the Unprettier or whatever Christian said it was during that time, and then you've got Edge's Spear. You know, they're very known as their potential finishing moves. But then you've got a lot of these teams at the moment. Even the Ascension of the Fall of Man. So at least that's something. But Los Matadores don't have a finishing move. The Usos still really don't have. They've got their splash, I guess, but they don't have a finishing move. And Jesus, they have not been featured at all.
Well, next they've got. They kind of got like. It's like Samoan drop into a splash, isn't it?
Kind of, but I mean, it's not been perceived by commentary as that being a finisher, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing going for the Lucha Dragons in that sense is that at least. I mean, I know Sin Cara does a Swanton Bomb, and that's something. But you've got Kalisto with the Selena Del Sol, so that's a finisher. But when you've got Primetime Players, like, I don't even think ever have Titus O'Neil or Darren Young ever had a finisher. They need a finisher now, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm mad at.
It was that worst part, because it actually hit a point, and I was like, so I remembered what Darren Young's was in the way of a finisher, because he does the... almost like the gut. I was about to call it a gut buster, but then I was just sort of like, what is Titus's finish?
I think Titus O'Neil needs to take Farouk's Dominator now. Make that his finish.
Yeah,
that's all
I could go with that.
Hell, even make it into a move where like he kind of jumps them first to weaken them and then fucking slams them down, because he can pick up anyone. He's massive. So
yeah.
Celebrity Dad of the Year, we'll remember. Roman Reigns versus Mark Henry.
Woo, Henry.
Now, back a few weeks ago, we had a question, what was our favourite WWE theme? And while Mark Henry's isn't my favourite, it is one that's very close to his character. I mean, come on, just look at the fucking lyrics. You know, somebody's going to get an ass kicked. Well, if Mark Henry wanted to kill me, he probably could very quickly. So, break his neck, fucking beat him up, break his neck, like... Fucking hell, that's like an evil fucking tune for a guy. So
yeah. So the one that I found quite funny is just like Triple H just singing it as he's walking off.
Yeah, just like, bring it there.
Somebody's gonna get their next bit.
Yeah, if I ever wanted to like just try and be more of a badass, then I'd probably make that theme my phone's theme or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Someone calls me. This is a short match. Reigns wins by count out. Sorry, uses the Superman punch on Henry outside and beats the 10 count. But however, the World's Strongest Man ain't too happy with that. He does the World's Strongest Slam and then splashes him afterwards. The only thing is
that like the World's Strongest Splash or something like that?
Yeah,
that's what it has. Yeah.
Like I tell you what though, that splash needs to be like a Mortal Kombat fatality where he just splashes them and their fucking head just pops off or something like that.
Yeah.
NetherRealm. Get onto it now.
Do it.
Would you please? This is where we see some of them pick up and we're like, what? Did someone listen to us? What's going on? Backstage, Reigns bumps into the Authority again, which you'd think maybe at this point he would have just done a beeline for his car and just got out of the fucking building, to be honest.
I'm done. Let's go.
Trips tells him, you want to put on that vest on real tight and then follow the buzzards. Oh dear. This ain't going to end well. And I will explain at the end of the show why this fucking annoyed the shit out of me. It's building, it's getting there.
Well, this backstage segment is the reason why I got really fucked off with JBL this week.
Okay, what did you come out with here?
Well, because obviously you had Roman Reigns walking backstage to his car. Well, not to his car.
To the locker room,
yeah. Like, you stuck that thought in my head there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes off to the locker room. He's all like, yeah, just walk around. Like, obviously struggling a little bit. He's been a bit beat up.
Yeah.
And then there's back to commentary, they're talking about the fact that Reigns has to fight Wyatt. And JBL's like, he can't even walk. It's like...
But he was walking. Yeah.
Yeah, like, how do we know he can even... Like, he's got a face Bray Wyatt. How do we know he can even walk? Because we just saw him.
He's beaten up, but he can fucking walk. We just saw him do it.
Yeah.
He's still standing, along those lines. Yeah, bit stupid. But it's JBL. Yeah, wireless tables, people. I still remember that.
True.
Still remember that, wireless tables.
I'll never forget the wireless tables.
Wireless tables.
The fact that I work in electronics, it makes me just wonder, like, I really wish I could have a wireless table.
Yeah. Now, they show a bunch of superstar auditions for Sonic Shakes, all of which are quite boring. And
makes me realise also, like, I was really happy for Damien Sandow to become his own character again.
And then,
he definitely is just sticking a Macho Man now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Macho Man now for the foreseeable future. Now, back in the day, WWE may have had a bit of fun with this, and they obviously did try, but the comedy here was just bad. It just wasn't fun at all. There was a lot of parts of this where I was like, okay, alright, is there anything going to make me chuckle? No, there wasn't anything like that at all. So
nothing will beat Slim Jims.
Yeah, they should probably just do Slim Jim again with fucking Sandow. Give him something to do at least. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, come on. I thought when it came up, I thought, okay, they're going to go outside the box here. They played it very safe, and I was just like, okay. Yeah. Paige versus Nikki for the Divas title. Now, this match was technically, in terms of technique, better than what we've seen recently because we've had a bunch of sloppy matches recently. Nikki proceeds to do a workout throughout the match, and a lot of people may say to me, why she was doing that? Well, to be honest, you got to fit in your workout whenever you can. Some people are quite busy. Maybe she didn't have time to work out that day. Well, I applaud her for at least trying. So
that's it. She's got to look good.
Yeah, exactly. God forbid she ever gains weight like Candice Michelle and then gets fired. That's the bottom line. So here we go. This is a part that's a bit odd here. Nikki wins the match by pulling off twin magic. Well, we haven't seen that in a while. Yeah, funny enough, we haven't seen that since one of them had a boob job.
Yeah, we haven't seen that since they both started looking significantly different.
Yeah, right.
Like, I think tits or not, I think we've now hit a stage where you could tell the difference between Nikki and Brie anyway.
Yeah, I mean, come on, there's two big reasons why you could, two very big reasons.
Like even if Nikki didn't even get a boob job, I'm pretty confident I could have told the pair apart.
I think maybe it would have been harder, but I'm getting what you're saying now. Yeah. I mean, even their gear was a bit different. It wasn't exactly the same. So
yeah,
it was a little bit odd. But they pull off twin magic anyway because the referee's an idiot. I mean,
it's sort of like, it worked for Kofi and Xavier. Maybe it could work for the Bellas. No, it can't.
Yeah. I just think it's funny, to be honest. It's just like, suddenly you shrunk. Suddenly you're re-enlarged again. Maybe there's new boob jobs that you've had that you can just enlarge and delarge as much as or reduce.
Nikki has paid out for the inflator boob.
The inflator boobs, yeah. New patent pending, by the way. LTW special. God. But yeah, there you go. And they're obviously going to build up to probably a Paige, Nikki, another match or something. I just thought we should be now building up to a Paige Naomi match. Is Naomi gloating that she's the champion? I'm a little bit to myself like, okay, they're going along this road. Okay, I'm not that interested. Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Now it's funny whenever these guys do battle, I'm instantly reminded of the match that was completely and utterly shit on by the fans in, I think it was like a couple of years ago, the Raw after WrestleMania. Remember they had that match and the fans just chanted for almost everything else apart from Randy Orton and Sheamus.
Yeah.
It was just destroyed. So whenever I see these two guys in the ring, I'm instantly transported back to then. And the Mexican wave that happened, the chants for the announcers and This is boring chants. It was just completely destroyed, that match. It was like, if there was one match in recent history that the fans killed, that's that match.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's the one. Is the crowd behind it? Sure.
Now, this match was slow to start, but to be honest, it was slow in general. I didn't like this match that much. Sheamus gets the DQ by using a chair, and then he lays out Orton with the bro kick. And I thought this match...
A couple of times.
Yeah, a couple of times, yeah. I thought this match in general was pedestrian, which is not a great description to say about your match. It passed me by, and I wasn't that impressed. That's the bottom line of it.
Yeah, just it happened.
Yeah, I mean, Orton's capable of wrestling fast matches. You just know he's more akin to wrestling at a very slow pace. But at a face, he shouldn't be slowing down the pace of the match. That's a heel thing. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I didn't like the pace of this match. It was far too slow, and it was far too... You know, when the first, like, a couple of minutes of the match are literally just chin locks. I mean, I think WWE at this point is beyond that. They should know that their fans aren't that patient anymore. You know, that's just the way it is.
We demand more than a basic hold.
Yeah, I mean, even if there are, there's better ways to start up a match than instantly going for a chin lock. You know, you do chain grappling. You know, that's interesting.
Start it off old school, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Brian Saxton is backstage with Rusev. The Bulgarian is rocking the crutches now, and he says very honestly, his heart has been broken, and it wasn't just his heart that was broken. It was, him losing his woman. He has nothing now. He's no championship, no career. He's a broken man with a broken ankle and spirit. He is the one that's crushed this time. Oh,
poor Rusev.
Poor Rusev. Oh, little Rusev. The funny thing is that it was pretty much, like I said, over the last couple of weeks, everything I've said about Rusev. All the things that he's lost recently, so make it out what you will. But I tell you what, though, and one of the things I did say before, I'll reiterate it now, I think the injury will be an absolute blessing for him. I think the injury is going to be a blessing in disguise. I think that if he was around, then he would be losing a lot of matches, whereas now he can skip all that, come back, they can build him up again.
That's it, come back with fury.
Yes. You know, I honestly think he would have lost a shit ton of matches this year. Obviously, he would have lost that Elimination Chamber. I'm guessing that. So, yeah, that's the bottom line of it, really. So he's going to go off and rehab. But we hope he's back soon, but not too soon for his own good, shall we say. Bo Dallas versus Neville. Dallas now is peeved over losing to Neville. He says, I tried to help you, Neville. Now I just want to hurt you. All of this, obviously, is contrary to his previous stuff where he tried to hurt... Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Funny that. This is essentially a rerun of their match at Elimination Chamber. It's the closer things you get to a rerun.
Why? Because why not?
Yeah. They may as well have just literally shown the footage of Elimination Chamber. It wouldn't have been that much different. So Neville gets to win with the red arrow. And as I said, I'm waiting for WWE to try to figure out what the fuck they want to do with Neville. Because at the moment, it's obvious they don't know what to do with him. And it's a shame. Reigns versus Wyatt, the main event. Now, I promised a rant. This is the situation where that rant happens. Guys, do you remember last year when I said that Bray Wyatt had a horrible year? You know, he was struggling after Cena. He had lost lots of matches. He lost that rivalry, and then he had to reboot himself. He separated from the Wyatt family. You guys will remember that. Then he went to that rivalry with Dean Ambrose, which didn't really do much for either person, but at the very least Wyatt came out the winner in that whole situation, if you look at it that way. And he hasn't done much since. Which is a shame, because his character... I mean, I've said that I don't really care what he's talking about. I mean, he beat Ryback recently, right? And the guy, Ryback, went on to win an IC title. So you may be thinking, well, things must be getting up for Wyatt. No. Because WWE doesn't give a shit about Bray Wyatt. And this match reminded me, in lesser, more blatant circumstances, than you remember that match that he had last year with Cena, where Cena literally just fucking destroyed him. Easy. Squashed him.
Straight up ruined him.
Yeah, squashed him. Easy. And it was only until like the Wyatt family got involved that suddenly things started to go Wyatt's way. But it got like uncomfortable to the point that Cena was just decimating him. And it was like, wait a minute. Like, why are you not protecting this man? Let's get into the reason why I'm bringing that up now. And I'm getting the reason why it's fucking disgraceful that WWE have treated Bray Wyatt, the character and the man, this way. Let me pose it to you. So, Wyatt is fresh. Hasn't wrestled a match in a while, right? In fact, he has not done anything really since beating Ryback, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so he's fresh, right? Roman Reigns has been in 2 very physical matches, one of which he was attacked afterwards.
Yeah.
Considering
one of them
that,
was obviously by Mark Henry.
yeah, I mean, you got fucking squished by the guy. You'd be fucking hurting, right? And Reigns is selling it, as he should. And then you've got the Authority out there giving you distractions. So you would think, with all that on the side of Bray Wyatt, this very important character that should be way far higher up on the roster than where he is, obviously he wins. Or maybe there's a DQ to maybe save Reigns, but obviously, you know, Wyatt didn't lose, or maybe he took it too far and he didn't care if he won, he just wanted to batter Roman Reigns, something like that, to keep his character strong. Roman Reigns beats him 100% easy.
Yeah.
After beating 2 people, having a distraction against him, Roman Reigns pins 1, 2, 3 Bray Wyatt in the middle of the ring. Why the fuck did they book this if they have any care of Bray Wyatt, the character? Because they don't. That's the big shocker of it, isn't it? They don't give a shit. That's why he lost this match. Now, would you, Matt, would you have put Bray Wyatt in this match?
No.
No. You would have put someone like, I don't know, Kane, maybe, right? He can take that loss.
Yeah,
right?
I think that would have been a good way of going about it. Because if they're just teasing, because Kane's now the 7th person. Because all they could have done is, well, how about you face Kane? If you lose to Kane, Kane gets your spot, and then Kane could just come out of SmackDown. Well, you know what, as COO, fuck yeah, I don't really need that win. I could just go in it anyway.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't need to win. He just fucking blows Triple H's cock and then gets in there, right? That's the bottom line of it. Now, the thing is, right? When John Cena does this stuff, we don't fucking like it. We said it on the show. We fucking hate it. It makes no sense. Why should Cena beat 3 very well-drilled competitors, even with distractions against him? It just makes no sense, right? So we can't let it slide when Roman Reigns does it, and it's not their fault. It's the way they're booked, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, we saw Super Reigns this week, right? So this leaves Bray Wyatt in the unfortunate circumstance. You could pass off King Barrett losing, right? Because it was a match when both of them were fresh, you know? Both of them had a chance, right? Mark Henry hasn't wrestled a match in a while, but he hasn't won a match in fucking ages, right? So you can say it was a close match he lost, and Mark Henry didn't even get fucking pinned. He was counted out, right?
Yeah.
And then he attacked afterwards, so he was kind of saved. So then you look at Bray Wyatt, gets beaten by Roman Reigns, 1, 2, 3, weird distractions on his side. What sort of thing is that for Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, and with Reigns with sort of like essentially like a 2-match handicap.
Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, they want to, like, Triple H is so funny when you look back on it. Look back on the show, and Triple H is like, oh, you better follow the buzzards. As if they actually treat Bray Wyatt as being someone that could beat Roman Reigns. When obviously in their thought, Bray Wyatt can't beat Roman Reigns, even though he's fought 2 people and he's got people distracting him.
Yeah.
I hope people can understand the reason why I'm saying there's something fucking wrong with what they did. If they have any sort of intention of Bray Wyatt being a big deal, they certainly aren't helping themselves when he's losing matches like this. You know? It doesn't look good on the guy at all. The Eater of Worlds, Matt! The face of fear! It's so funny! If you look at it all that way, that it's funny and frustrating. Right? Because Matt, you're a fan of Bray Wyatt. I'm a fan of Bray Wyatt.
I am a fan of Bray Wyatt, yeah.
Right? How is anyone supposed to think of this guy as a competitor, as an ass kicker, when he can't finish off a guy that's already half beaten and you've got people distracting him for you?
Yeah.
How are the heels supposed to be heels if the heels don't fucking win by being fucking heels? Right? It's like booking 101. This sort of stuff, like the face overcoming the odds, should happen at very rare occurrences, at pay-per-views, when you've built up a lot of stuff. This shouldn't be happening randomly on Raw. I don't understand why they thought Wyatt was the perfect person to take this fucking loss. It's dumbfounding to me. And now I've explained it to you,
Well,
Matt.
I find quite funny, actually. It's like you're saying how like Wyatt hasn't fought anyone recently. That is very true. But especially, it's just like, actually, all they did, like with Ryback, was just sort of like, oh yeah, I'm going to expose you. Lost, done.
Yeah.
Sort of like just given up already. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, the whole like Ryback rivalry lasted all of a month, and there was no repercussions. I mean, Bray Wyatt is the master of not having any repercussions of his actions, right? It doesn't matter if he wins, loses, draws. The person he's going up against is going to be exactly the same afterwards, right? We remember back when he was first introduced, him abducting fucking Daniel Bryan and turning him into a Wyatt.
Yeah.
You know, it looks scary. If they were going to take you off, suddenly, like, their character ain't the same anymore. He either beats this thing and becomes different, even though he lost the... Remember, Daniel Bryan lost the rivalry to fucking Bray Wyatt back then, right?
That's true, yeah.
When Bray Wyatt was a strong deal. Can you imagine the Bray Wyatt back then who beat a fresh, determined Daniel Bryan one-on-one, completely 100% fucking clean? And then you look at him now, who cannot beat Roman Reigns under these conditions. It boggles the mind. It absolutely does. WWE either don't care about Bray Wyatt, which is stupid, or they don't know how to protect him, which is stupid.
Yeah. I don't get how that's the case.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I have got no clue. Now, going back
or
into...
if it's even the case at all.
Yeah, I mean, after the match, we'll talk about what happened there, because it's so frustrating. I just don't understand why they went along this line. Basically, afterwards, Ambrose shows up with the belt to save his brother. There's a scuffle. Reigns and Ambrose leave with the belt again. That's pretty much what happened there. All in all, this Raw, I didn't think was that good.
No, not terribly.
I don't think it was that good. Not horrible, but not good. In overall, it was quite dull, average, boring, apart from the Owens Cena spot. The rest of it, however, was pretty much your run-of-the-mill Raw with some major annoyances here and there. So.
Standard Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. So, take of it as you will. I hope people understand where I'm coming with Wyatt, because anyone that's been a fan of Wyatt, I think this is the final nail in the coffin, because I've been saying for a week, I don't care who he calls out because it's so inconsequential. Nothing he does has a rippling consequence. No one he beats actually matters. And it's not so much like me digging on him, it's WWE's perception of how they deal with the guy.
Yeah.
He's a horror, he's supposed to be this horror-inspired badass dude, but no matter what he does, nothing fucking matters what he does. For like a year, it's been this way. I won't go on it because I'll lose my voice. I don't understand. And I'm not gonna. If they do the shit with Wyatt anymore, if they try and build up Wyatt again to be this sort of like, oh, this mystical, creepy, badass dude who can beat anyone he wants, I'm not on that train. I'm like, no, you've lost that.
Yeah.
That ship sailed long ago. I just stayed on it because I hoped that you were going to do something with him. Now I fucking jumped overboard. I want nothing to do with this. So
you're writing yourself off with Wyatt?
Unless WWE have a sudden change of heart, and it's a lengthy change of heart. I need 12 months of him being booked correctly for me to finally think, well, they might have you having something on the horizon for Wyatt.
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand how they wasted this character. Such an awesome character.
I think the biggest waste of his character this year is the fact that he lost to Taker.
Yeah.
And is still being called the new face of fear. It's like, well,
that's what I mean,
kind of not.
The ultimate description for Wyatt is inconsequential. Nothing he does means anything, right?
Yeah.
So if he wins a rivalry, he'll still do the same thing as if he lost it, right? So if he just naturally, it's almost like WWE didn't want to remind everyone that he lost his match at WrestleMania. It's ridiculous. It really is, but... Anyway, that's it for the show. Have you got anything else to add?
No. I'm pretty sure I had something, but no.
Well, if you think about it, you can always put it up on Twitter.
I probably will have to.
What's the Twitter handle, Maggie?
I think I'll probably be sticking it on at Talk WrestlePod.
At Talk WrestlePod. Okay.
That's it, yeah.
Okay. I'll definitely be checking that out. If you guys want to leave any questions that will be answered on next week's show, then be sure to leave that in the comments section below. We will be happy to answer that. Obviously, you can send the questions as well to at Talk WrestlePod, which is the Twitter handle. That wasn't as much of a show.
Actually, one last thing before we wrap up.
Go on.
I've been listening to a lot of other podcasts. So
Yeah.
obviously you've got JR, Jericho, Austin, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, anyone who listens to the JR one knows that he's a big advocate of the territory system.
Yeah.
Would you say, because I'm pretty sure I messaged this to you actually during the week,
Okay.
that the territory system, like, you hear all the benefits of it, which is fine, I completely understand, and I can understand the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Would you say the territory system has now just, rather than just being different states of America, it's now just gone different continents of the world? Like, the territory system has now just become international.
It depends on areas that that wrestling is hot, which is the main two places, obviously America and Japan, and they obviously have their own versions. I mean, and no, New Japan Pro Wrestling is the WWE of Japan. So
Yeah, I'm not necessarily referring to just like to TV. I mean, obviously that helps.
yeah.
But like I was thinking, because I was just sort of like, well, you kind of have your new territories now, because you've got the American style. British style is a lot stiffer from what I've hear. Obviously, we trained in British style.
Yeah.
You've got Mexican style, which is a lot faster, or even the Spanish style.
Yeah.
As well. Plus, or you've got like wrestling in Japan, where it's like, yet again, it's stiffer, and it's all for. It's your delivery of what you do.
Yeah, it's the delivery of the move is very important of how you present that move. That's
exactly.
It's an awkward question to answer because the whole territories thing and what JR kind of gets with that is that, I mean, I know JR is a big advocate of having territories again because that way you get more competition. With global television, obviously that's where WWE dominated and they ain't letting that go. So
yeah,
one of the things that Vince did to get control is that he would pay TV stations to only run WWE, right? So along those lines. So I mean, territories are dead; they're never coming back. I know what you're getting at though, in terms of international areas. Yeah, I mean also different styles of wrestling. There's also, I mean, it's always dictated by who's the biggest cat in that town. If you had WWE as the biggest wrestling show in Japan, then they would be wrestling a lot more of American style of wrestling. That's just the way it is, because that's the way they would go around it. That's the way culture works, in terms of music and movies. That's exactly how that works. It kind of runs under the same sort of format. Whatever sort of style dominates that area, it will go down generations, and that will eventually be like that.
That's it.
So it is healthy to have places like that. I mean, have different styles of wrestling. Have different,
which I think is partly a reason why we're getting. I mean, obviously it's like they're allowed more time, but I think it also partly contributes to why we get so much better matches on NXT.
More travelled people. I think that.
A lot of NXT guys aren't the travelled, but like you've got Owens, Zayn, Neville.
Yeah.
Obviously, Itami. It's just like they've done the world.
Yeah, I think that, one of the issues going to NXT, and I'll keep this short because we do have to wrap up, but one of the good things about them doing that, and one of the issues that when you've got someone like a Tyler Breeze, who's only been trained in-house, right, is that he is as good as WWE can make him, but there's always going to be people that can come in then that have done the tours overseas that will always have more than Tyler Breeze has. They will have a different style that they can go to that on a certain night, which will work with a certain crowd. It's like Kevin Owens, right? And Cena.
When he pulled out the moonsault.
Yeah, Kevin Owens has way more of an arsenal than Cena can dream of, right? He's got so many more tricks in his bag. Because WWE will teach you what you need to know and nothing more. So, all you need to do is to be able to put on a good match in their eyes. But sometimes you need someone like not in terms of so much in terms of wrestling ability, but someone you need who doesn't follow the rules, i.e. like a CM Punk, like a Austin, to kind of take the company in a direction that's more entertaining. So like WWE, I've always said this about WWE and their announcers, like Brian Saxton. They will teach you to be a certain way, but they don't really want you to be that way. They want you to be a mold breaker, right?
Yeah.
They want you to create a whole new archetype, but it's very hard to do that now considering they're micromanaging anything. So I understand it's hard. It's just you get a lot of these guys that are trained to be exactly what WWE wants, but that's not what WWE wants. It's kind of a strange
Yeah.
Kind of backwards and forwards there. So.
Catch 22.
Yeah, but that could go into a long conversation, so I'll have to get that in the bud. So yeah, all that stuff again, all those plugs that you had there before, plus a little extra conversation. If you do want to be one of the 300 subscribers to this show, which will be soon, then, well, obviously you've gone this far through the podcast, so I imagine you enjoyed it. So hit that subscribe button if you are a new listener. You can be part of that big celebration that we have, hitting 300. We are still well on track of getting 400 at the end of the year, which is the goal. That's the main goal. And we will have, episode 100 before then, so should be very fun. Let's go along that line. Apart from that, we hope you have a great week. We've got Raw again next week to watch, and it will be a bit more of an easier week for myself and Matt. We'll have a break. We won't have to watch 8 to 10 hours of wrestling. It might just be.
That's one thing, especially considering it's like I can actually have a lie-in on my next day off.
Yeah, instead of getting up early to watch Raw and get.
See, I don't have to work on my car and get up early to watch Raw. I just sleep.
So yeah, I hope you guys had a great, enjoyed it. And if you did, like I said, you can leave a question. You can like the video if you like as well. But apart from that, hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you next time.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot now. Bye bye.
Bye.